making sure that he wanted to keep those trees, because some of them are compromised, and on his property, and he said yes, he wanted to keep those trees and follow the original condition, which said no encroachment within 20%. So kind of stuck on that side, because we just want to honor what the neighbor wants.
What did the arborist look at those two that on his property?
Yes, and he's actually measured those, and no, they're not, but they're on that neighbor's property, the ones that aren't healthy, and if they want them to remain, you know, they may live, I think, 10 years, you don't know. But we have extensively met with him on site and talked, and he does want those to remain.
Trees, or what kind of trees are they?
They're a mix of trees. I don't have the.
Which property, which one on the right or the left?
I don't think that.
Yeah, that would be, what's the name of that property? Do you know what
They're
that's
along the south,
for right now?
south property line, so they're on the, if you're looking at it from Main Street, it's on the
Looking
left
at it,
hand.
it's on the south. Okay.
Yeah, I think at one time it was an event facility. I don't know if it may be still an event facility that's next door.
Is that the Big Stuff Productions? Is that where?
Yes, yeah. So, you know, there really can't be a lot that's added to that side, because we want to limit the, any impacts to the trees. And of course, this was moved over somewhat closer to that property line at the council meeting. This applicant had to set aside some land for a possible future road connection. It's not a funded connection, but it was a road that was shown within our 2015 downtown master plan, that if we're going to add all this density downtown, you need to have connector streets. So, but again, that's not funded at this time.
But it's planned.
Yes.
Okay.
This is the property for it.
So, where are the trees?
And I think I've got another picture if anybody needs of what those trees, but they are, you know, definitely want those to remain, and the condition allowed up to a 20% encroachment. So,
Okay.
not a lot you can do right in that.
Kathy, did you, I heard conditions again. Are there council conditions for this applicant?
Really, there's just two, and it says that the architecture and materials shall be developed similar to the submitted renderings, and they are. Openings in the parking deck shall have decorative screens, and the parking deck is screened with a mix of landscaping trees in varying heights.
What's that mean, decorative screens?
So like Teasley, so instead of just having an opening, they've got like an iron, a fancier iron.
Like
Yeah, you can't even tell, I think, on School Drive that
Yeah,
that's a
that's,
parking
yeah,
lot.
no, you can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, very good.
So it's
Okay.
not just a punched opening.
Yeah, and there's the, you know,
Okay.
the residential is right behind us, west of
Right.
Main. They had come to the public hearing. Of course, they had some concerns about how that landscaping, the looks behind them, and the setback. So, you know, they want heavy landscaping, of course, and that
Jason.
a nice parking deck.
Okay.
The,
All right,
the parking
any
deck
other-
doesn't even have openings, though.
Any other comments
It's short.
this morning?
No openings. If it did, okay, because
He
there's no
just said, are
opening
you
on
at
it.
DRB?
Okay, then our last applicant this morning is going to be Bank of America.
Huh? No,
And-
he thinks this is funny, that all these people.
America, they're gonna talk about what they're doing.
There's some demolition going on right now.
They're doing, yeah, they've got some DOT right-of-way issues with that ATM building that's out there,
Oh, okay.
canopy and stuff like that. So they're removing a lot of that. They originally came in and wanted to just rescreen that over with ethos. And we said, no, you can't do that. If you're gonna, you know, if you're gonna take that part of the building off, you need to do some other things. Then they came back and we want to change a couple of the signs, and so staff said, let's just combine everything together, fix up some landscaping, because they're moving the parking lot around a little bit, and readjusting where the ATMs are and stuff like that. So they're doing quite a bit. Their landscaping looks pretty good. We're going to have to work with them a little bit more, I think staff-wise, because there's some DOT stuff that's not happened yet with some power lines and different things, and weird. It's a double wide, but it's only an exit out, so we're gonna try to get to do a right out only, not a right in.
That would be
because you
good.
can't go anywhere. So there's a few things that staff will massage yet on their site plan with them, but it's gonna look great. It looks a lot better. So, I also talked to yesterday, the sign company, so I think he's here and, he'll talk to you a little bit more. They've had a lot of signs out there, so I don't know that they've picked which 4 they're gonna choose yet, but I think we just look at as far as the site signs, not the monuments, but the site signs, we just look at kind of one design and say, okay, we're okay with that, or we want it, like we did with Center State Bank, we want it, monument style with the metal all the way to the ground kind of thing, so you don't see the posts, whatever you guys do on that one, but then we'll review the wall signage, locations, and the monument sign specifically. But we'll just see what you think of the design of those site signs, and then staff will work with them on where they are, which ones, and make sure that they're code compliant.
Okay.
Sounds like they've got some elevation changes, though, that we're not seeing today.
Well, their elevation changes are, yes, they do, and I think they're just going back they're just taking off and filling in. So hopefully they've got a little better pictures than what I could find in their
Okay.
packet. So we'll see
Okay.
how that- The biggest changes are all the sites, and they're basically, there's gonna be a road, the board's gonna turn and come between them and the Maxwell, so
Yes.
so that played into their plan. So it's gonna look a lot better than what it has for years.
Good. Okay. Very good. All right. Any other questions, comments about Bank of America? All right. There being none, then let's adjourn our workshop session. That'll give us a minute to get our coffee cups filled, get ready for the public hearing, and we'll start that, let's say, in just a couple minutes. Okay? Let's get back to the start. Richard, you doing all right? Yes. Good.
I trust you had a terrific trip.
We did. We had a great time. We went up to Pittsburgh and did some.
You have roots there?
I have some. No, I've seen it before, but no, I've never.
What you've seen?
Yeah, no, it's
You don't need to go back.
fantastic. So we had a great time,
Yeah.
and the weather was really good, so.
Yeah.
But it's like, some of the headstones that
Oh, here, yeah, the new towns are here. Now, I mean, it's up in here, so you don't really see that. That's all I think.
So I don't know. If those are helpful, I wanted to.
Yes, absolutely, thanks. So just for you folks from the public that are here to talk about any of the cases, the board will go through the case and hear from the applicants, and then they'll call for public comment at that time. Then you can come up to the podium and talk about which comments you want to add to the case.
I would also appreciate if you fill out a speaker card with your name and address, because it helps me when I'm doing the minutes. but you will need to state your name and address at least when you come up front to speak.
Just didn't want you to think we weren't gonna get to you, but, because the public meeting, the meeting starts about 9 o'clock, so, or 9:10 actually. And so we'll, it'll come.
Lights, camera, action.
Trying to freeze us out today.
Yeah, it's definitely.
I brought my jacket.
Oh, he said that, I thought he said he could not come. And Kim said she could if she needed, right?
Well, she was
But I guess she was,
Going to the hills.
No, I mean, to present for the art loop.
I got more stuff going on the ground right now. There's a lot of busy work and there's enough.
All right, Ellie, are we ready? Okay, got everybody here? Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the City of Alpharetta's Design Review Board public hearing this morning. Today is Friday, October 16th, 2020. Glad to see we have some folks in the, some smiling folks out in the audience that are socially distanced this morning. So, all right, our first order of business this morning is we'll do a roll call. It looks like everybody is here. So welcome, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here this morning. All right, and if just a gentle reminder for those of us that have electronic devices, if you will either turn them off or silence them, please. Appreciate that. And if we'll stand, we'll face the flag, and we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you for that. Next item, any items from staff this morning? So I'm looking at Brett, or
Nothing from staff today.
where'd Ellie go? Oh, there she is, okay. Okay, okay.
Last week, we had our first public workshop for the comp plan update. And if you weren't able to come to that meeting, you still have an opportunity to participate in the exercises. We have a tile on the website, alpharetta.ga.us, and you go to the comp plan tile, and if you go to the participate part of that, you'll see the 2 exercises you can take, and you guys will be getting an email about it today. You love my emails. And then it'll also be on social media for the website for the public. Thank you.
All right, good, thank you, Ellie. All right, anything else from staff this morning? Okay. All right, any items from board members this morning? Anything? Well, I would like to say, I know both Roger and I missed last month's meeting, so thank you for, Frank, thank you for acting as chairman, and thank you, board members, for being here and helping Frank out. So we try not to miss the same meeting at the same time. It just, unfortunately, Roger had a funeral to attend. His father and I was on vacation, so.
he did a really good job.
Good.
He's
I
in the
didn't need any
he's in
help.
the running. We know we do elections.
Very well.
Did
Thank
he
you.
give you $20 yet, or?
I'm perfectly okay to be back in my ends.
Well, thank you for doing that. Okay, and I want to say, how about them Braves? I think we've got to win one more game, so no offense to those Los Angeles Dodger fans out there, but we're one game away from returning to the World Series, so go Braves this morning. Okay, anything else from board members? All right, we don't have, the meeting minutes have not been finished yet. Ellie had a family emergency, so we'll see those next month for the September meeting, so we don't have that. And so on to our first application this morning, and that is the City Alpha Loop mural. So do we have Mr. Rogers? Come on down. Good morning. If you'll make sure you speak into the microphone, introduce yourself this morning, and then give us an overview of what we're
Certainly.
having in our packet, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Morgan Rogers. I'm the Director of Recreation, Parks, and Cultural Services for the City of Alpharetta. And I'll have to tell you, I've made quite a few presentations in the last 3.5 years to Mayor and Council and to the Recreation Commission, but I'm a little intimidated by this group. It's the first time I've come in front of you. I don't know some of you, so so I'm gonna, if I get flustered, I may have to ask for some assistance from some folks. So
We're a friendly bunch.
okay, good.
We
All right.
intimidate ourselves, so.
You can handle a lot.
Well, I do appreciate the opportunity to come talk to you today. We have an exciting opportunity with us today, and I'm hoping that I can share with that. I'm going to have to,
Go ahead, you can plug in.
okay, all right. If I can plug in real.
We've got more than what I have, so.
It'll take just a minute for it. Okay. Everybody can see that,
Yes.
Ooh, I want to go.
the diver, okay, all right. So but let me just take you through a little bit of a history with this project. Everybody knows that we're talking about the mural location that is on what we call the Alpha Loop connection, which it connects Avalon to downtown Alpharetta. And that's a project that's been coming for quite a while, and we're all excited about that and where that Alpha Loop is going to lead us. But we're really excited about it. But that mural location was I'll show it to you so you can see it graphically. So that's the location. That's as it is in its current condition. It was always designed for artwork to go there. And when they were designing the loop, they just said artwork, and that's easy to say. Well, we'll just put some art there one of these days. And so as it was making its way through the approval process, there was some community concern about the locations of these murals, because during the winter, you could see these locations from some of the residents in Alpharetta. So there was quite a concern when this was working its way through. And the council then put some conditions on that location to make sure that it was appropriate for the location, for the residents, and for everybody concerned. So that happened, and then so now we're going along, and now the Alpha Loop has gotten finished, and that location is still there. And surprisingly, we had a Alpharetta resident, Diane Greco, that approached us about wanting to put some artwork there. She's not an artist. She just wanted to fundraise and get some artwork on that. So staff and her, along with Arts Alpharetta, we got together. We found an artist, a local artist, and so we decided we'd do a survey in the community to see what people wanted. Well, when we put out the survey, our Cracker Jack team at the Community Development Department quickly called up and said, whoa, wait a minute, there's conditions on this. Now the survey, let me tell you, the survey was already out, okay? So we waited for the survey results to come, and I don't know if you have those in your packets or if you want me to share them. Okay. Okay, that's easy. So let me put these up. So the survey went out. There were the three possibilities in the survey. And of course, this was a survey done by Arts Alpharetta, and so it was just trying to get the pulse of the community. So those three you can see, the first one, the second one, and the third one. So then we ask a series of questions about those. Below are images for the three proposals for this mural. Please pick your favorite one. So the favorite one was number one, as you can see. And then here's where we get into, then the next question is about, do you want colorful, playful, Instagram-worthy, historic, what do you want? And you can see colorful kind of came out a little bit. And then the next series of questions, that I'm just trying to, is what type theme, nature, contemporary like that. Nature, obviously, one hands down. And then the last one was with the colors. And this is where we'll make sure everybody understands that we're still in we did this before we knew about the conditions, but it's not too far off. You know, you can look at that and say, well, the muted colors lost. Well, no, not really, because, you know, in this day and time, you can take about any kind of information and spin it the way you want it. And so I'm going to spin this little information right here a little bit, is that the way I look at that is you have the muted colors in the middle, and if you take the one below, which is a mixture of those, then you have a lot of folks that like that muted kind of color in the community. So armed with that, we have come up with a design, and I'm going to show you the middle one first.
And Morgan, it looks like you had almost 300 survey
Absolutely, absolutely.
positions, okay?
Good turnout
Yeah.
from a limited group or a limited size group. And let me get this up for. So that's the one that we're bringing forward. You can see the muted colors that we have. One of the things that was important to a lot of folks is that it would be Instagrammable, kind of spot. And so this is what the muted colors would look like. We think it works well with the surroundings. And I have let me go back now, and I'll show you.
Morgan, I've got a quick question while
Okay.
you're looking. As a board, we always request color samples and things like that. And do you have any color samples of what all these look like in true life versus what they might look like on a screen or a printout?
Yeah, so I'm put on the.
I'll let you go ahead and do your thing. I just had a quick question.
Here comes.
They come.
There we go.
Oh, okay, yeah, absolutely, please
Yes,
do.
if you'll-
Start down there if you
So
would.
this-
Thank you.
This is the artist.
Are they all three the same packet?
Yeah.
So why don't we can share, okay?
This is
Thank you.
Cecilia Gonzalez, who is the artist.
Thank you.
And so these were up on the screen now is kind of the earth tones that we had. This was the palette that we worked off of to get to the color selections that were made. Okay? And then the last thing I'm going to put up is them in their entirety.
Okay.
And so this was what the overall mural will look like. And again, these are, we're going to use the color palette, so there'll be muted colors. The only thing that has been talked about a little bit since this was actually done was that the flowers are going to look a little bit more organic. Flowers are going to be coming up instead of growing from all around. The flowers will actually look a little bit more organic using the same colors.
Okay.
Is what we're thinking about right now.
No flowers coming down, right?
No, as far as coming up, they'll be coming up. And Ms. Palmer, what I'd like to do, if you start talking about that, I'd love to call up the artist, so, because I'm definitely out of my field. As soon as you do this, I'm out of my field, so.
Gotcha.
So would you like for
No, you'd finish it. I mean, I'm
You
sure.
fin- why don't you finish your presentation, and then we can call the artist up, and it looks like we have some public here, general public, that may want to make some comments
okay,
as well.
so
we'll,
I'm done.
Okay.
I've shown you the pictures I want to show you.
I
I've
got a
said the
couple.
things I needed to say.
I have a couple of questions.
Okay, all right.
I missed it. So we are approving the side ones too, or just the middle one?
I think just the middle one right, well,
But your
I don't know.
guess? I mean,
So what we're looking at today is the colors,
okay.
the colors.
Colors.
The colors. The condition says the colors on the wall shall be earth toned or muted. So that's what we're looking at today, the colors.
That's it.
They're all the same.
So we're
color.
not looking at the
Three.
form, we're not looking at the, okay.
Nope, just the colors.
But all three have the same colors.
Yeah, all
And-
three.
And so there's 3 panels there for,
Yeah, they'll
All
all
three.
need to be the same.
Colors.
Colors.
Unit colors.
Contradict Brett, but
Uh-oh.
public art pieces shall be permanent and require approval at design review board.
okay,
You're looking at
the art at the
Oh, we are,
actual, okay. All right. Okay, so those are,
Morgan, can you,
all right, we'll have, let's have a little dialogue with Morgan, and then we'll let the public come up and comment too.
the brick behind it, and it's cream, it's like a creamy brick, right? Okay. I just wanted to, you don't want-
And
like
I
flashing
would call that,
colors with-
I call that a very low tone cream color
I
there,
just
absolutely.
want some
Absolutely.
flashing colors.
I have a question too. We haven't really had that problem yet, but you know it's going to happen at some point with graffiti eyes painting. Is it some kind of substance you can put on that makes it easier to clean it off?
Absolutely.
Because I noticed one on the right already had, it's just chalk, but people will do things.
Oh, absolutely,
So
absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
easily, that makes it really
Yeah,
easy to
it'll-
clean.
We'll cover it with, there's a covering you can put on that the graffiti will wash right off.
Okay.
We'll do that because, we know that,
And And one question here, is it lit or are there plans to light
No.
any of these?
It is not lit. There's no plans. Now, there are lighting on the Alpha Loop connection itself. There's a
That's
bollard
lighted
lights,
bollards,
yeah,
right, yeah.
but we're not planning on lighting the mural.
I just want to real quick give the board kind of a, if you guys haven't walked out there yet, I want to give you just a real quick kind of where it is from where we are. So we're over here at City Hall. If you cross Haynesbridge Road here and go along the trail, you're going to find right here, so I'll zoom in a little bit on that. Right here is the wall with the three spots that
panels.
Mr. Rogers has pointed out.
And then the landscaping across from, on
The
the other side, that's
landscaping
the
ac-
key olives.
Oh,
Yeah, the landscaping that was required is in, and it's right through here.
Yeah, you can't see anything.
Okay.
Or I couldn't anyway,
Very
Yeah,
good.
from the loop.
Yeah, those are about 8 feet tall now, and they are evergreen.
they're evergreen.
Yes.
Okay. Are there plans, is this a rotational piece of art, or is this going to be there for, I say forever, but
Yeah, until, you know, we have just, as y'all probably are aware, the Arts Commission was just approved at the last council meeting, and so that would be like their determination as to if and when that would ever need to be come down or be replaced. And just so you know, the maintenance of that will fall under my department, and we can, I'll assure you that we'll keep it looking as the way that it should.
So
By the
relative,
life of it.
excuse me, relative to that, 5 years or so down the road, you may want Cecilia to evolve this into something else that
Yeah, and it
would,
absolutely.
would,
And it would have to go through the
Sure.
process, whatever that process is. I think with the coming of the Arts Commission, the process may change a little bit. You know, they may have a little bit more authority. I just don't know. You know, we're excited about, you know, a citizen group that's going to be focusing on the art here in the community. So I think it'll be good things.
At this point, with the current condition, it would have to come back here.
the current condition, right?
Okay.
With the property, so, you know, even as commissions come in and change, we always will follow
Okay.
city council conditions.
So they would have to change it.
If I come here, we would notify adjacent property owner, same process.
Okay.
I like the way the panels work well to be placed in there and work together across the triptych, so to speak, across those three panels.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Rogers this morning? Okay.
And we have both Diane Greco and Cecilia Gonzalez, who's the artist, with us today. If y'all have any questions of them, they'd be glad to answer them, or, you know, obviously, whatever.
Any
pleasure.
questions for the artist this
But
morning?
it sounded like it might not look like this. It's
Yeah.
being changed somehow from what you're showing us here.
The
The colors would be the same.
colors will be the same, but I would really like, I think, for Cecilia to come up and address that, if she would.
We're just approving colors.
But Kathy came up and said, we're approving the artwork.
Hi, so, yeah, so it would be pretty similar.
Your name and
Oh, sorry, I'm Cecilia Gonzalez of my address, 330 South Esplanade in the Avalon. And, yeah, so it would be very similar, same color palettes. We were just playing with the idea of, like Mr. Rogers said, something a little more organic with the flowers, rather than as they are now. Whereas now they're a little bit more abstract, kind of coming from all angles. We were playing with the idea of making it a little more organic and having them coming from the ground as if it was, you know, growing out from the ground. But yes,
So the ones all on the top would not be there?
yeah, it would be,
Would it just be like the colors and not the? What would be on the top, just white?
it would probably be the colors kind of still there, the more organic shapes in the background, but most of the plant would
But
be
just the
coming from the
plant, okay.
bottom, and they would be coming up higher.
Richard Owens, I don't know about you, but I'm looking at it in plan view.
At what?
Straight down.
You called it what?
I'm looking at it straight down, I'm looking at it from the top.
Yeah, I think it looks good the way it is, but, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little fearful that if it starts morphing a little bit,
it'll be-
I mean, we approved this, and then it starts changing.
It ends up being a lot different.
And it may be a call that whatever the final version is, it gets submitted to staff, and if they judge it to be significantly different than what we're approving, it comes back to us.
Is there a reason why you want I mean, I understand.
It was,
Like,
Looking
what,
at it from up, looking straight down on it, that's what I'm looking at.
I mean, what was the concern of having flowers come down?
we are happy with it as the way it is. We just kind of had an internal discussion of, oh, what if we did it a little more organic? But if the council approves of it in this.
Well, if you
manner-
take everything off the top, it just seems like then what's on the top, just white?
It would still have kind of the organic shapes, you know, the almost drippy shapes.
And some of it looks like tree leaves coming down and that kind of thing, which makes sense coming down, right?
I think we have to be careful that if this is what we're looking at, we're approving, and if it changes, then we'll have to see it again.
Right.
So,
Right. Diane Greco, 310 Banbury Crossing. What we were looking at different artwork across different city platforms and what was being taken pictures of, Instagrammable. They wanted something less looking like a postcard. So we wanted more, we saw some like overgrown, same type flowers, but more overgrown and less white space. So that they would just more come up from the bottom and around, and that way we can add like a hummingbird, a ladybug, make it look more active, moving, but the same colors, the same format, the same tones, just a little less white space and more flowers coming up. So it would be still pretty similar.
I think we definitely need to see that. 'Cause
yes,
that's,
I would,
Okay.
now you're adding animals or bugs or insects.
Well, I like the idea of less white space, but I think we would need to see.
yeah, I like to see
Yeah.
everything, Bill.
Because the white space, yeah, isn't something people, it's going to draw people to.
Okay, very good. All right, anything else for Cecilia or Diane? All right, do we have any any general public want to make comments about the mural? Anybody out there want to raise your hand? Okay. I'll tell you what, if you'll come on down, introduce yourself. You will speak into the microphone, and then we allow public comment, but I've got a little timer here, so I'll give you 2 minutes. How about that, okay? As soon as you finish introducing yourself, I'll start the timer.
My name's Dave Meeker, and I'm unique in this room because I'm the only person that looks at this every day. I live in Academy Park, and it's directly behind my house. Been involved in these discussions for 3 years now with the city council. If you're not familiar with that area, it is the last old-growth forest in central Alpharetta. There are trees in there 6 feet in diameter. It is a very pristine area. I don't understand the need for the graphic in the middle of this, the Alpharetta. As you saw on the gentleman's slides, the walk is within a couple of feet of the wall. So you're walking about from here to the podium away from the wall. That big graphic makes no sense. The only one that can really see the graphic is me and my neighbors. There is no road, there's no panorama to take in. There's just the back of homes. So I don't understand why we can't keep it as a nature scene without the graphic, without the Love Alpharetta. People know where they are. It is not something that's going to be seen by passers-by because they're going to be too close to it. So I would like to introduce the idea of expanding the nature part of it through panel so that it is truly emblematic of the area and not a drive-by billboard.
All right, very good, thank you. Any other comments from the general public this morning? Okay, there being none, all right.
Right, Richard?
You got one up.
Oh, all right, come on down, please. Thank you. And again, if you will introduce yourself, give us your address, and then.
I'm Nancy Meeker, and I live at 12330 Dan Cliff Trace in Alpharetta, and I'm in Academy Park. And I just wanted to comment, when this was started a few years ago, we had some samples of things that might be used on the murals, and they weren't murals, they were more sculpture kind of things. And everything was muted, everything was, as Dave said, along the nature kind of idea. And I would like to know more about what this new idea is for the mural that has been presented now. This has gone out, you know, as a, what do I want to say, getting an opinion from people, and they were looking at what that original situation was, that original picture painting.
Those concept images.
Yes, and so that's what people are voting on. And I would like to see, before a decision is made, to see what it's going to look like with this concept of coming up from below and whatever is hanging down above, before a final decision or vote is made.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, appreciate it. All right, anybody else this morning would like to make comment? All right, thank you. Well, thank you for participating. We're glad to see some of the public here this morning. We're usually by ourselves and the applicant, so to speak, so. All right, well, let's continue on. Any discussion among board members or questions now back to the applicant possibly?
I've got a quick question for staff. One of the conditions was that evergreen landscaping that sits on that loop, on the inside part of that loop, and it's the osmanthus or tea olive, that part right there. What started that? Why is that there?
That was because of concerns from the residents at the city council meeting about the visibility of that wall. So those were required as one of the conditions that they plant the tea olives.
Okay.
And it actually specified tea olives as to help with the screening of that wall.
Okay. And then, quick question, what's the distance from the closest
Maybe zoom
Academy Park resident to that mural? How far away is that? Two-
250 feet.
Okay.
I took pictures, and it's totally blocked from their view. I had, because when we found out that resolution, about they were concerned about bright colors, I went and took pictures, and it's evergreens block. I couldn't see a house.
Right.
It is total forest, 100. So I'd love to see what they can see, because it's a lower wall, and the houses are so far, it's all woods, and then we have the evergreens.
Right.
So I couldn't see a house from there.
Okay, thanks.
I'm not sure what they can see, and it won't be lit also, so it's,
I agree, I couldn't see anything, but maybe in the winter,
right.
the leaves fall, maybe that's a different perspective, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to see, because it is evergreen, so there's nothing where the leaves will fall off. It's pretty well blocked. And I know it looks like that, but I have taken selfies by it to make sure when we plan the art. And you can get in the wall, you can get in the Alpharetta sign. The other thing was, when I'm in Midwick, and this is in the Midwick neighborhood, that's our detention pond. And so when we moved in, the builder told us he was putting in a tile wall. Beautiful tile, gorgeous artwork. When we asked him about it, when we all closed, he said, oh no, nothing's going in. When we came to the city, they said, we don't have any budget for it. So I understand what the other residents had heard 3 years ago, that it was gonna be something nice. We heard the same thing too, but then we found out there's nothing in the plans, no budget. So,
So are there monies now in the budget to do the mural?
no, from what
so-
I've heard, COVID, they had to transfer City of Alpharetta, well, then it transferred City of Alpharetta. They had to move some of the funds towards education.
Oh, so this won't even happen now? The mural?
Well, that's why I thought I'd raise money, I'd go through the neighborhood and see if we could raise money to get something on the wall, yeah. Otherwise, it could go years.
What's
Just
the
a chalk.
cost of doing this? What's the cost of doing the mural? Do
We're
you have a
looking
cost?
at 4,000 to 5,000.
4,000 to 5,000, okay,
Yeah,
so
and
not a
if it was
tremendous amount.
tile, it was like what the other woman was talking about, to put something more organic, and with tile, it was over 30.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't think I could raise 30. So that's the story behind why we're going with the mural.
Okay, thank you, Diane. I did see one more hand raised from the general public, so I'll allow that gentleman to come on down and make a comment. I'm sorry, Nancy, you had your time, so. And if you'll introduce yourself and tell us your address and.
My name is Don Welsko. I also live in the Midwich subdivision. In fact, my home is the first home right next to the tree you see in that picture. 450 Banbury Crossing. And to one of the gentleman's point, I've actually caught a couple of people starting to draw in these spaces with chalk. So, helping my lovely neighbor here, I thought it's a great idea. To make one other point, I have a very good friend in Academy Park, so the other day we actually walked, because there's a gate that allows you access into Academy Park, literally walking straight ahead. You can't see anything. I mean, the topography goes down in towards the creek and comes back up, but it is so heavy and solid, you just can't visually see anything. We were having a contest, because he lives over there, and I wanted to see, hey, you know, if you flash the light on and do a couple of things like that, could we see anything? Could we do like signals, especially when we're watching the Georgia game or something like that? And you couldn't do that. So anyway, I just thought I'd make that point. I actually came here, and I'm leaving. I don't know if this is the right body, but my bigger concern as a resident is what is at least being allowed to happen further down the loop, closer towards the city, where we've spent all this money to create this ambiance, and we now have what looks like a pedestrian neighborhood where the residents are building fences. And I can tell you what is going to happen to those wooden fences that are front and center on this loop. People are going to run graffiti on them, and I was just wondering if the city was aware of that and why that was allowed to happen, because if you think about it, what if Midwick built a wooden fence all the way along the Alpha Loop, basically blocking the sight lines of everything? It just struck me as something I think somebody should be aware of. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Appreciate your comments. All right. Kathy, do you want any kind of comments or concerns from the city's aspect of what you've heard?
I would just say that, you know, I think visibility was established, you know, at council. That's why they put in the T-olive. So, you know, regardless, there's a condition that requires that they, you know, provide input, and that's why we notified them. So, of course, we want their input. I would also say that the resident that noted that there was different things shown at council. Of course, we had metal. I think we had metal that actually it was three-dimensional. We showed just a vast array of things that could be there, but nothing was approved. And then regarding the fences, I think that's in Boise, and actually with that's on the rear yard. So there's no condition against. There's no code that prohibits a rear yard from having a fence. You are prohibited if it's your front yard. And with Boise, of course, we hadn't designed the Alpha Loop at that time. So when Boise was approved, there wasn't conditions that they front the Alpha Loop on some of those areas where they have the fences. It's actually the back. So we were able to quickly, once the applicant submitted for a public hearing, I think it was required to have a 5-foot sidewalk through there. We said, hey, can you change it? Put in a 12-foot. So they did immediately change as much as they could, but we were very lucky to be able to make that happen because that's now the entrance. But there are some things that we weren't able to catch with those conditions because we didn't have that planned. And I believe there's 3 houses there that have a rear yard. The rest of them are all front yard, so they would be prohibited from having fences.
Okay.
Hope that
As far as like if graffiti happens on a private fence that's been put in, is that a code enforcement issue?
It's a
or is that-
HOA. I mean, the
Okay.
HOAs are strict in these developments.
Well, we just don't want somebody coming on, it sounds like somebody's taken some sidewalk chalk and already marked on the mural area.
They did, but we didn't have, and actually, some of the, the residents that sent us that, they weren't concerned about it. Some of them, we didn't get any concerning, some of the things that they had written, people were joking, saying, look, the mural has started, or, so we didn't get anybody that was overly concerned about it, but, or we definitely would have taken some action.
Real quick, what size are those panels?
Oh, probably.
I don't, is the measurement in there?
You can count the brick.
3, 4,
I can count
5,
the brick.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
4 by 8, 5 by 10, something like that.
So I'm trying to, we're at, I did some math real quick. So you're basically a little over 80 yards away. In the south, we deal with football sizes, right? So it's almost a football field. So I'm just trying to figure out what that looks like. If you could see it from 100 yards away, what does that look like in perspective?
6.5 feet tall,
It's 6.5 feet tall?
It's a little bit,
That seems
the height of the panel.
By 5.
Say again, I'm sorry.
We had the measurements we gave to the artist. They're like, each panel's like 10 feet by 5 feet. They're
10
not.
by 5.
Yeah.
Okay. At 80 yards away. Through a forest.
well, you look at this room, right, from the dais back to the doors back there, that's probably what,
30 yards?
30 yards, so it's less than half, or less than half that distance, so. Just as a,
Yeah.
Trying to figure out in perspective what that looks like, and then through a forest. And
Since we don't,
Well, thank you.
obviously, we
Well-
don't have a budget for this yet, we could ask them to come back when they're prepared to show us more of the organic, and maybe even consider, I think I like the letters, but maybe even consider downplaying the size of those a little bit. Just kind of move things around, because we don't have to approve it today, because they're not going to build it soon.
what, to the applicant, or maybe Mr. Rogers, what is the time frame you think it will, is this next month when you collect $4,000, or maybe it's not your money, but?
First, the applicant, Diane was actually a citizen. Obviously, she's not on staff, she's a citizen, and she's agreed to raise that money. But she can't raise the money until it's approved. She can't go out and say, well, give me some money in case we put a mural there. So we were hoping to try to get this done before the bad weather came, but it comes, which is, upon us very quickly. So, we're probably going to miss that window and probably have to look to the spring before we can do it. I don't know if that's an accurate statement or not, but, if you want, we can certainly put together another proposal and come back to the group. That's,
Okay. Well,
we don't have a problem with doing that.
Hearing what you've heard today from the general public, and then kind of hearing what we're hearing is it may change a little bit, the art or the form may change a little bit. Is that, do you want to come back to us?
Sure.
With a final, I guess, version, if that's what you call it?
Glad to do that.
Can we approve the colors and sort of the conceptual art design with a requirement to come back with the final drawings? Would that be enough to proceed with fundraising? If we did approve the colors, approve the design and concept, but just with the condition you bring us back the final design.
Okay.
Would conceptual approval be enough that says, yes, we think it's the right direction, we're okay doing something like this, we just want to see the final artwork?
Sounds reasonable, I think.
Yeah, if that can get you going with the fundraising, then maybe that keeps you on schedule.
I don't know if I would
And
give it.
also, would it be okay if we have a super fundraiser, say they give 1,000, put a little plaque on the side? I'm trying to find a way to get some big fundraisers, because I know it's artwork all around has
Probably not.
signs.
Anything,
I don't think that's.
I'm looking at code enforcement, I'm looking at Brett over there for code enforcement.
Yeah, I think if it's gonna be a business, that'll be an issue.
Right.
If it's a particular individual resident,
No, I was looking at business.
I think that's gonna make it a sign.
Okay.
Do you,
I'm
So
just
if-
trying to find something I could offer them.
no, provided by.
Yeah, I don't want to see a plaque that says provided by.
Artist name, you need to put the artist's name.
Right.
Are you trying to raise money? Are you trying to say, hey, we're,
Raise money for
go
it.
to this website and,
We can talk to you about the.
Okay, okay, great.
first selfie in front of it and then hashtag.
So why don't we, if it's okay with the board, we will make arrangements to be back at your next meeting with a clearer design and some more information about whether, what maybe possibility we could do to recognize anybody that did that, so that we're not, because right now we're kind of talking about nebulous things, so let's see if we can't bring that back down. And I hate to take up more of your time at the next meeting, but if that's
That's all right.
acceptable, we'll just
That's our job.
schedule the
That's what we're here
So
I don't know when your next meeting is.
we're here the
Like next
third
week?
Friday of every month, so next,
Friday of every month.
next meeting is November 20th. So
Okay.
if not, then it'll be in December. And it
Okay.
may be the second Friday in December because of the holidays. But,
And they approve maybe the colors.
yeah, we can certainly do approve the colors today, so.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, regarding DRB 20038, City Alpha Loop mural, motion to approve the colors for the artwork as presented today and the general design of the artwork in concept, with the requirement that they come back with the final artwork for approval.
Okay, motion by Mr. Swing, second by Ms. Rocco. Any further comments or questions about the motion?
I'm not so sure about the in concept of the whole thing, because that could change a bit. They may come back with something different, I'm thinking. I think should just do the colors right now, then let them come back.
Well, if they come back with something different, then it's not this concept, right?
The concept is that all three.
Well, and just
If you're
in
looking at-
the
yeah,
general
all
style,
three
and
together,
and
I'm okay
approach
with
of the
that.
artwork, if they come back with something totally different, then obviously that violates the conceptual approval.
Yeah, either way, they're having to come back for their
Yes.
I think we said
design.
in concept, we're okay with this.
The
With
idea.
this approach, with,
Okay, I'm fine.
yeah. I'm just trying to give them enough to go to people and raise money and have confidence that the money is, this is going to happen in some form, in some form, right?
And bear in mind that it's come through city council already, so the idea of a mural has already been approved or.
Yeah, that's a good
So
point,
we
too.
are-
That's a good point. It's
So we're
already
just looking
by
at
city
the
council, right.
kind of the content and the colors. Okay, any further comments or questions from board members? If not, I'll call for a vote. All right, all in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, all opposed, no opposition, so motion passes 7-0. So, all right, thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you November 20th then is our next meeting, if you can. All right, very good. Thank you for your time this morning. And thank you for everyone else being here this morning, too.
Yeah.
Okay, our next applicant is Pulte Group.
Thanks, Brent.
You're here, come on down, please. Okay, all right. All right, Ms. Rocco's going to excuse herself for, you'll be back, are you planning on coming back? Okay, very good.
That's his.
All right, we have Pulte Group, and if you will, you're going to get ready, you're going to get plugged in here, so. Just don't find a parking space.
I did.
Just don't have to go look for a
Just for
parking space.
you.
All right, I'm plugged in.
Are you plugged in? All right, Brett, it looks like he's plugged in, can you switch?
There you go.
Okay, very good. All right, if you'll introduce yourself this morning.
Well, yeah, good morning, members of the board. My name is Jason Garrett. I am here on behalf of Pulte Group. I have with me Travis Ziazang. He is our in-house architect, so if we get into a lot of details, he'll be able to hopefully answer any questions that you have. Tell you a little bit about Pulte Group. We were founded in 1956 in Bloomfield, Michigan. We are now based out of Atlanta. Our headquarters is Atlanta. We have 28 markets that we serve. We serve a broad spectrum of customer groups, and our John Wheeland Homes and Neighborhoods brand is our upscale luxury brand, which is predominant here in the Alpharetta community. We acquired John Wheeland in 2016, and we've continued to enhance that legacy. So, Some of the John Whelan communities that we've delivered within the city over the years of Boundary, Overture, Braden, Haynes Park, Gramercy Park, Academy Park that you heard earlier. And so we're actually, we'll be closing out of Braden here in January of next year. So we're really excited about that community. So a little bit about Foundry. It's located near Avalon. It's a progressive blend of single-family homes, detached, and some townhomes, and then there's a commercial component within the community. We're here seeking approval of a 3-story version of our existing townhome product. Recent activity in the housing market in Alpharetta has shown an increased demand for a mix of architectural styles and home sizes. A 3-story version of our product has found great success in other high-end communities, and we hope to continue that success in Foundry by offering the consumer another choice. We're requesting architectural approval of that 3-story version in our Foundry community. This version is essentially the same as our approved architecture, only without the rooftop terrace. There are very minor changes to the exterior detailing, and you'll see the next from the so that's a side view. The computer-generated images really don't do it justice, but those would be our front elevations that we were proposing. Those are sides, so if you look at the left and the right, so the left is what we have existing on the ground. Right would be the 3-story version.
So, Jason, I'm sorry, the picture on the left, that's the 4-story version with, I guess you call it the roof terrace?
Yes, sir.
So that's, okay, and that's what's, some of that product is there now?
That's correct.
Okay.
4 stories?
There's a door.
Yes, it is. There's a story below grade.
There's parking below, is there parking down there, right? Is that?
There is,
like
yeah. You'll see the
behind-
next, the parking is tucked
Parking
under.
underneath, okay.
The grade dictated.
So that's basically the 4th story.
Sure. And you can see, again, we didn't change any of the architectural detailing. It's really just a modification of the roof. And again, this is a rear elevation. Same thing. The elevation shown doesn't show the sunroom. That is an option on all the homes.
So, I'm sorry, can you point the sunroom out to us? Can you use your-
Sure, it
your
is.
pointer, or just, okay, just want to be sure we.
Yeah, that is the sunroom.
What they
there.
call it, okay.
And landscape, so we continue to try to engage Old Milton Parkway. For those of you that have been out to the site, there's a rather significant landscape planting buffer between Old Milton Parkway and the community, and there's a photo of it in the upper right. Compliance to the city's comprehensive land use plan. The goal is to promote and encourage residential densities and designs that ensure varied living areas and housing types. We believe that this variation of architecture is in line with the intent of that goal. This modification would not affect the public services or facilities, nor would it affect public health or health, safety, or welfare.
Oh, Jason, I'm sorry, flip, yeah, the image down to the right there.
Yep.
Is that, we've not seen that in our packet.
That is not in, that was something we generated. So that is there are pedestrian connections down to parks that are kind of mused between the stacks of buildings. So each park has its own unique design. And so we engage that through that pedestrian connectivity. And then one of the features that we're proposing is some kind of a trellis or entry feature to go over those pedestrian connections to further enhance that.
Okay.
But this is looking from Old Milton right here.
That's correct.
And there's like an existing set of stairs going down right now, so that's basically where this is, right?
That's correct. Yeah, there's approximately 10 feet of grade change from the building pads to Old Milton Parkway.
How does that, so the grade change, if you're on the side, I think it's Solomon Brothers is the last
On the
retail.
center side, yeah.
You know, on the center side, right?
Yeah.
That's about 10 feet. And does it change? It looks like it gets less of a
It
grade.
does. You're actually falling down the hill, and I've got a, let's see here. This somewhat shows that, but as you go towards downtown, there's a grade change of about 10 feet across the front of the property.
So you almost get to the grade of Old Milton at the other end.
Yes. Yep. So as far as the massing and the streetscape, our roof lines will be probably within 2 to 3 feet, a few feet of the roof lines of the commercial. Again, they've got a 2-story product for the commercial. We've got a 3-story.
Now, looking at that, so I was out there, went to look at it. Those buildings are, I mean, they have a very tall first story.
Yeah,
kind of a standard second story. So they're pretty tall buildings. And
Yeah,
they're 10 feet above your grade. It seems like with a 3-story product, there's going to be more than a 2 or 3 foot difference.
So we're at 41 feet to the roof, the max height of the roof, 37 and a half to the median height of the roof. And they're sunk below, and I may have an
So
image.
you'd be with a 10-foot grade change, about 27.
There's not
30.
quite 10 because they're actually below Old Milton.
I think this picture that I just put up may help a little bit of that. So here's that 1-story structure that's on site at the end. Park Street is right here.
And that's the pool, isn't that a pool?
This is the pool area, yeah, and those are the 4-story townhomes back there.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you drive, take your,
This is a photo.
oh, it's a photo, okay, I was going to.
And the commercial building right there, those are 2-story.
Those are
Three.
2-story with retail on the bottom, so they would have been required at least, I'm gonna guess at least 18 feet
Okay.
ceiling height. Now, it may not show quite that because of, window openings and stuff. It may look a little lower, but on the inside, it would be 18 feet. So, and then they also had that style that was related to a site over in North Carolina that had high-peaked roofs. So they have some pretty good roof pitches on these in the neighborhood of 8 to 10, 12, which makes it a 18 to 20 foot roof height also. So
You put up that photo that I sent because I think
Yes.
it shows that perspective.
here.
Yeah, so this is looking towards Old Milton, right? So you can see the retail building on the left, and there's the retaining wall right in the middle. And then you got about the 10-foot grade drop.
Yeah, so you can see the floor height is up here. So that's a high one. These are, this is probably 9.5 to 10 feet right here, maybe more. That'd be about right, Richard.
The stairs that are further to your right in that picture, there's stairs that go from the lower.
Yep.
I counted 19 risers, and if they're 6 to 7 inches apiece, you're almost 10 feet down, midway down the site.
Right, but I'm talking about the height of this.
Oh, that, I'm
from
sorry.
road grade. This is probably about 10, right in there.
You know, if that's, say 8 plus a couple for the transom, yeah. You're probably close to 18 feet floor to floor right there.
Yep.
And then another 12
And then
there, and another double that, another 12, 18 and 24, you're 42, 43 feet.
I don't know, let me see, I have their,
I didn't have their architecture. I assumed it was a 30 to 35 foot height on the building.
Jason, what's the big picture, what's the reasoning for going from what appears to be 4-story units now to 3-story?
Yeah, so from a livability standpoint, so we had this, we have a similar community in East Cobb, and we introduced this 3-story product, and there was a lot of gravitation towards it. People don't want the elevator, and they don't want the vertical living of the 4th floor. So we've seen a large market response for that. We're still going to offer the 4 stories, but we've seen the market really gravitate towards that the 3-story product, and it also does bring us down a little bit in price point. So it allows some people to get in that may not have been able to get in previously. These are.
What would you say your current mix of, say, 3 and 4-story units are, and what you've already built in this subdivision or this area?
Yeah, so this, we opened the subdivision first of last year with the 4-story product, didn't get any traction. So we put 5 on the ground, and then couldn't get any traction. We introduced and sold 1. We sold 1 and introduced the 3-story and, I don't know, 6 months ago. Yeah, and we've sold 5. So it's really, I think that the remainder of the neighborhood is probably going to gravitate towards. We've got 2 buildings of the 3-story already under construction. We don't have enough orders for the 4-story to start another 4-story building. So it's really it's really taken hold in that community.
So how many of these units now have been built? I know looks like there were some under construction when I went through
Yeah,
there.
we have not completed them yet. They were just designed.
Well, I'm talking about what's existing now of the whole.
Of the community?
Of the community, yes.
Okay, do you have the site plan?
And maybe, Brett, yeah, if you can go back to the site plan, I'm just trying to, I mean, it seems like you provided a kind of a good mix of 3 and 4 stories already.
Well, we don't have any 3-story multifamily out there. It's all 4-story.
Well, it's all 4-story.
Yes.
Everything's 4-story, okay.
I thought I saw some
I
three-story.
think they look like 3-story because
The garages.
the garages and everything's underneath. So when you're looking from, I think you were probably where I
From
was,
one-
when you're looking, you see the road and you see 3 stories, but there's another story you can't see, I think, right?
I think the 3-story is just the detached.
Yeah, the detached is all 3.
No all townhomes are 4.
Even the townhomes to me look like 3-story.
Then maybe I was-
Unless you had
okay.
that below grade piece.
Yeah, Brett, can you zoom in on that site plan a little bit?
I can't get it to zoom,
Oh, okay.
but they're right here.
That's what's right there, the
That's the detached.
attached 3-story units.
Yeah, right there.
And then everything else to
Well, on
the,
that other road, it's detached.
that's all.
These
those-
are some
Everything-
detached also along here, but all of the townhomes here are all 4-story.
Yeah, everything east of the main spine road is our 4-story.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you're planning here is it's not detached?
No.
They're all townhomes?
That's correct. Yeah, it's all townhomes, and so really the green area is the area that we're contemplating this. Again, the market will tell us which.
So it's a different product basically than what's already, this product is not out there yet.
That's correct. Yeah, that's hence why we're
You can zoom
in
in on it.
architectural approval.
You can zoom in on this if you.
Jason, something I'm struggling with, and it sounds like there's a lot of discussion going on with it, is we're trying to figure out what this looks like next to this and where that street grade comes down and all that. Have you prepared anything that, like an elevation study that we can look at and we can
I do,
literally?
what I don't have is I didn't have the architecture for the commercial.
Sure.
And so I assumed a 30-foot height, which may be incorrect, listening to some of the commentary. But I do have an exhibit that has the elevations for each pad and then that associated road elevation and what that would
Okay.
be.
Okay, why don't you share that?
Maybe
with
you can go on the overhead there.
Is it all the same, are those all the same, or just, how many copies do you have? We can share.
Oh, no. Where's your?
That's fine, yeah. If you hand them here and I'll
Okay.
just pass them down.
Well, I'll tell you what, then pass it and leave one and maybe put it on the overhead, and then we can look at it all, and then folks out in the audience can see that too, so.
I'll be honest, that's what I'm struggling with.
I think it's a lot of our questions too. Can you switch to the, right.
Numbers.
Jason, in the illustrative perspectives you have from from Old Milton, looking into the space between the buildings, it appears that you have a dotted line there that is suggesting that height arrangement. Is that what that dotted line's for?
Yeah, and I'm not sure which one, the perspectives are based on the elevations. The computer-generated models are based on the actual elevations that are in the CAD files. So
Yeah.
they're accurate. Some of the power line obviously doesn't look like that.
Oh, yeah. To another point that may come a little later in your discussion, there's a richness about this structure that enters into the space where you're showing a roof cover with standing seam metal, and it's been replaced, it appears that it's been replaced with a timber structure. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah, just a typical roof structure.
Because that timber structure is much less substantive than the standing seam roof, which is marvelous.
Yeah.
Is there some way to blend that to give it more substance? Because the timber thing it looked like it just fell off. It looked like it just landed there.
Sure. And I will have to divert it to our architect, Travis. But I assume dormers or something like that could break that, that roof line up, if that's a concern. No, it's, you're talking about the actual roof of the structures, right?
Well, not the structures of the,
Oh, you're talking about the
of the
trellis.
homes. I'm talking about, yeah, the trellis feature that enters
Okay.
in off of Old Milton.
Sure. Yeah, to have some kind of a metal roof or, the challenge we have is it's directly under some high voltage power lines.
Yes, Kathy mentioned the challenge of the telephone pole.
Yeah, it's well, there's a pole there, but there's also high voltage, power lines that are on this side of Old Milton that our pedestrian connections are directly under. So the limits as what we can do under there, under the power lines.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that we could do like a metal. That's why I was proposing wood.
Well, anything that has more architectural character to it that complements the character and the richness of the houses you're putting in there.
Yeah,
I think the key to this is along Old Milton Parkway. That's the kind of the most important elevation and
right.
frontage that we're concerned about, is how to make that really look nice. You know, just knock it out of the park.
Sure.
That's the first impression everybody's going to see, unless you're a resident and own one of the units in there. That's the first impression you're going to see.
Don't you think maybe at least the townhomes on Old Milton would be all brick, like you have some back in there? You know?
Yeah, I mean, we could do that. I would refer you to slide, the side and rear elevation slide. I don't know if you can pull that up. That detailing on the side of that unit, if we were to make that just a sea of brick, I think you'd lose a lot of the character.
I think
we could certainly do that, but I think with the character, with a mix of materials, we've also added, you know, a door, which is not, it doesn't really pop out on the elevation, but that'll add some context to that side as well, with a shed roof on it.
Will you see that door though?
I don't think you will.
I mean, it's so,
You may not.
You won't see
You know,
it.
it will be, yeah.
because for my, like that horizontal line, I think that's what you'll see.
Yeah, well, in this instance, you'll actually see everything above grade right here. 'Cause,
But like if you're driving on Old Milton, you won't see that door.
No.
or-
no, you won't.
You can almost take your hand and block
You're
out
walking,
the lower.
you look down, but yeah.
I just don't want to see a roof. I don't want to drive down Old Milton Parkway and see the top of a roof.
And try and,
Struggling with it being the side, you're looking at the side versus something that can look more like a front. As it fronts Old Milton, that's my struggle. And I'm still not sure where we're at with the elevations of the roof lines versus next door that kind of went away.
Yeah.
Well, I go back to the elevation, I guess you showed at City Council along Old Milton. I think we maybe saw that somewhere. That's got a lot of architectural character to it. There's some different roof lines. You've got, you know, you've broken up the roof a little bit, and you've got I guess the roof terrace helps break that up. So, and that almost gives it a little bit more blending into where the Solomon Brothers, the retail is along there as well. So I think that's the board's concern, is the Old Milton Parkway elevations. That's critical here.
Sure, yeah.
Height.
There are 4 end units basically that abut Milton, and so we did try to add on these elevations. You can see we've got.
What are those, Jason? What are those elevations from?
The elevations that, sorry to interrupt, the elevations that you're seeing on the screen right now are from council meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And bear with us here,
I'll go
too.
back to his, if you're done with these, I'll go back to his.
And bear with us too, this is the first time we're taking a look at this. You know, we should have seen it, I guess, a couple of years ago when you first started, so we're doing some catch-up work here as well.
Jason, I think your screen lost connection there, your laptop.
Okay.
Well, the condition is they look like the front, don't they?
So what was the result of showing those to council? What we just saw on the screen?
Those were approved.
4-story.
Four-story.
They're 4-story though.
And that's what council said should be the flavor of the buildings.
So originally, in your packet, you've got let me go back to mine. You've got these 3 photos in your packet. Those were shown to council and were approved, and staff would have gone on that
Time ago.
and been able to approve those a while back, yes. What they decided they didn't want to do, why he's here, he didn't want to do the 4-story, which we had. He wanted to come here to the 3-story. Oops,
That's 3
That's a
stories.
3-story.
yeah. Just a little bit.
The condition it looked like a front?
There is a condition that says,
Yes, there is.
hang on.
Is it 28 or 30?
What looks like the side was approved.
It says,
We'll approve that, but yeah, I'm with Pat.
it's right here. It says, in cases where the side of the building faces those streets, the sides shall have been designed to face those streets.
Have the appearance of facing.
But that directly
Count, yeah.
conflicts with what was imaged.
Yep. It's like, and? Yeah.
Yes, there wasn't a door added on that side, but staff felt like the details that were, again, above grade were higher end than just adding the door at below grade. So there is that issue of that, but they upped the what we felt was the details on the basically 2nd, 3rd, and 4th floors to negate the fake door on the basement level.
So,
Yeah, I mean, if you had a fake door there, you wouldn't see it. It's 10.
You wouldn't see it anyway,
below
yeah.
grade.
So we got them to increase the details that
You
you
could put a
will
door
see.
on the 2nd floor, but I'm not sure where you get from there.
Only
So,
one time we do
yeah.
that.
all right, hold that. So that comment number 30, condition
Yep.
number 30.
Condition 30.
So we're talking about buildings along Old Milton Parkway, which is one of the streets we're looking at now. Thompson Street, which is on the other side.
Yes.
West Side Parkway and Park Street. So those are kind of the major thoroughfares around
Yeah.
the block, if you want to
Yeah,
call it
you want
that.
to see the GIS map?
What's that?
Can you go back to the
Well,
map?
hold on, I'm kind of still reading 30. In cases where the side of the building faces those streets, the sides shall be designed to have the appearance of facing those streets, okay? There shall be no visible rear yards along Old Milton Parkway. No visible rear yards. So what is, all right,
In such a hole.
So the way we would have gotten rid of the rear yards along Old Milton is landscaping, basically. But again, we took the details up, graded basically the details on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th floors to basically say, this is what you're gonna see. And then the landscaping, you're not gonna look in to see those backyards, basically, so.
Yeah, the landscape
Okay. All right.
buffer is far greater than what we would have normally done.
okay. Thank you, Brad. I just wanted to kind of, that's,
So look, I'll just go real quick back here to the GIS and I'll show you, I'll zoom out. So we're talking about these right here.
so that's Old Milton Parkway.
So we got Old Milton, Park Street,
Park Street,
Thompson
Thompson.
Street, and West Side.
Okay.
So you guys remember all the meetings we went through on Liberty Village?
Yep.
So this is all in that same zoning thing that it was done as one site. So the commercial buildings had some different things that they needed to do. The residential had these that we're talking about now. These all, if you drive along here, even though they're rear loaded, but they've all got front porches, front doors,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and we're not proposing pulling back on any of those architectural details. It's just simply the roof and, you know, we do lose a little bit of height. I don't know what else we could do on the side of a unit. There's a lot of mix of materials. There's a lot going on there.
We just have to struggle with council putting conditions on us that,
I'm sorry?
Well,
the council puts these conditions on us that,
they're good intentions. I mean, the intentions are there, so I think we have to interpret and do our best.
yeah.
to
Yeah,
make
I
sure.
think, I mean, I don't think staff really interpreted the condition to say that the front door had to be there or anything like that, but it's, we've dealt with this in some other townhome communities that have come to you guys, the one at West Side and Encore, West Side and Maxwell. We had some issues where just the site plan made those buildings have those ends, and so we try to make those details on that end higher than maybe what you have on the other side, just so that you get a good street view.
Well, I'll
So
tell
your
you-
street view on this is gonna be that second, third, and,
What they've done in the picture that we're looking at on our monitors, they've unflattened. That elevation there is not a flat elevation. You've got like a bay window on that
Yes.
left-hand side. You've got the roof terrace on the right, which is a recessed area there. You've got different roof pitches there, so it really adds a lot of dynamic and.
a lot of character to it.
And maybe not, I take it back, making the whole site brick, but you might want to do a little more brick than that version.
I mean, this has got some stone in it or brick. I'm looking at the picture.
Whatever it is, yeah.
Stone or brick, then it's got some panels and then maybe some hardy plank. So, you've got a mix of materials that and it gives it some color textures, color differences and some textures as well. So, and you get looks like I guess it's all in this kind of the same, primarily in the same plane, but I think we just need to make sure we're dressing up the old Milton Parkway side of the buildings, of the townhomes, and trying to stay with the same kind of character of the heights as well. Maybe it steps down a little bit or something as the site, but
Put them in the second, third.
I mean, that's my 2 cents.
That's a good way to put it. Go ahead.
Age before beauty.
Well, I was just saying, Richard's explanation of that about the character from Milton is, it's what I would say is the essence of all this. What is that presentation on the ends?
Yeah, and I think, so the site, it dictated that we had to bring the grade down because of the way, and so now we're kind of stuck, well, okay, how do we engage the street when really there is a disconnect of about, an elevation difference of 10 feet. And so it's really, what can we do on that second and third story to create the depth and, all the things that.
Maybe the roof pitch maybe gets a little steeper too, helps give you a little bit more height presence.
Pitch, we could do dormers, a shed roof dormer on the, on the roof to try to break that up.
And for me, I've pulled up the front elevations, right? And so what makes the front elevation is, that is lacking on the side elevations is windows. A little, and shutters, and, a few little portions where the roof, there's some roof overhangs, and things like that. Those are the things that I'm looking at this. I'm just a dumb plant guy, but those are things on a front elevation that might help the side elevation to make it look more like a front.
Yeah, let me.
A lot of blank space on the side elevation.
Yeah.
Let me bring Travis up.
I'm sure that's a function of what's going on inside.
Right. I'm Travis. Go Braves.
Don't start.
A lot of our window locations are based on the floor plans, right? So there's kitchens, there's garages. So there's certain areas that we try to eliminate putting windows in because of have people having to buy blinds and security issues, things like that. But certainly we could definitely look at adding shutters. If the roof line is an issue, we could definitely look at, based on that picture, we could do some dormers to kind of break that roof line up. And I think that would probably give you what I think you're looking for as far as depth on the sides. And the site is pretty flat, I believe. These are slabs. So we will do a lot of jogs in the plans to give it more density and depth. As you're driving by, you can kind of see all the breakage of the townhomes. But yeah, also, with window grids, we try to match what we're going to put on the end unit. So if that unit on the front or on the side has shutters, definitely want to use the same material like what you're talking about to kind of make sure it flows. So yeah, definitely we can bring that back.
To Mr. Corkle's point, on this elevation, the big blank siding wall there, is that a room where you could add windows on, so you don't have that big blank wall of siding?
Okay, we're actually, so the one above that is really what we would propose for those end units that face Old Milton, just because of the difference of materials and there's a lot going on there. There are things we can do. We don't necessarily have to add windows. We can add shadow box windows, which are, add a little bit. They're not true windows, but they look like a window from the exterior. We've done that in the past to try to create that appeal.
Is it the same side elevation you're proposing for, there's like 4 units that'll face the.
There are, yes.
Same one?
It would be that side elevation
same,
is.
That's the-
just repeated, okay.
This top one on the one we're looking at?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, like I said, the computer generated, that's why I wanted to have the imagery in there. You can see we can't.
Well, just to be, maybe I'm confused, the photo, is that what they're gonna look like?
Yes,
Okay.
without the roof.
The photos are the 4-story, so they're not gonna have that rooftop
Yeah.
thing. So like the rooftop, where the vanilla color
Oh, I see.
plane on the right. it's-
Okay, cuts off there, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
And something that would help me, I don't know about everybody else on this, and getting back to it is, can you all prepare some sort of an elevation of that street frontage? And just mock up what you need to on the retail side, and then show what that elevation of these buildings will look like. Give that heights, give the roof heights and how that will look. Because I think that's what's hanging up a lot of people is 4 stories versus 3 stories, and what's that look like versus what, and I'm still not clear.
And how that would look in relation to the center to the right and the Wellstar to the left.
Yeah, exactly. And then we can look at what, because it's going to have to be a true street front elevations continuous from A to Z, or X to Y.
Yeah.
Is that something you're able to do, at least?
We tried. I don't know what that commercial building is. That's the issue. We don't have the architecturals to be able to, I guess we could estimate what the height is.
I assume you have that, right?
What's the difference in height from the 4-story to the 3-story?
Well, yeah, I mean, the city has the heights of those.
Probably not a lot of height.
It's not a lot of difference in height. I know it looks like it is, but it's really not. If you look at the back of that unit, that ridge line comes all the way down to the front of that window, and all we did was we just kind of dropped the pitch maybe 1 or 2 degrees. So it just looks like it's a lot lower, but I can give an actual number.
You could probably
on
get
that
pretty,
drop.
for the retail on the right hand, if you're on Old Milton Parkway on the right hand side, which is the eastern side, you can probably get pretty close as to how tall it is.
I think that's
close
what
to,
they're showing.
so, and just block it out so that we kind of can see that.
So it is.
That's where that college trigonometry.
That is good.
I think so.
The picture shows.
Spells. Okay. All right, any other comments for the applicant this morning? 'Cause we've got some other applicants we have to hear from, so I don't know that we're comfortable approving what we've seen presented today. We've had a lot of discussion.
This one's
Yeah, I like the 4-story. I think it does need a little something.
It breaks
Cut it
everything
down to 3 stories. Is it all, the 3-story, is that brick mostly that we're looking at? The material is mostly brick, and then you got, okay, panels over here. It does look a little plain. But again, it's going to be hard to tell in a rendering. And I think these grades are trying to picture how this building sitting down in that hole next to Liberty Village is going to look.
I mean, I think I know, but I don't know.
What I think I know is it's going to be too low. But I think.
Do you know what the height of your building is, your 3-story from slab?
Yeah, from slab is, the roof median height is 37 and a half.
They've got it on this.
Yeah, they've got it on
no
there.
doubt.
The ridge line is 41.
41 feet from
And
ground.
then the 4-story, well, it's probably close to what that is there.
Very similar.
Especially with the way they've done.
Well, what you show on the roof median height and the road elevation of what you handed out.
Yep.
I figured there's anywhere from a 26 to a 30-foot difference.
Wow. That's a big,
Well, that means the road elevation, is, say, closer towards Wellstar is like 30 feet below the house.
Yeah, my biggest
roof
fear
line.
is seeing too much roof, and it looking like the side of house. I still can't stand those roofs on Liberty Station, or whatever it's called, they've got those false fronts. Sold a bill of goods on that one.
So just to give you, I think this coffered ceiling in here in council chambers is probably 20 to 22 feet from floor to coffered ceiling. So that's, if that's, Roger, if your numbers are right, that's a pretty big delta.
Yeah, I think that
So-
delta's gonna exist though, whether we do the 4-story or the 3-story.
Be more.
We're 9 feet below the retail.
Okay,
Is what our pad
all right.
is.
Or are you jumping off of that?
Well, we appreciate your time this morning, so let's, I think maybe a deferral is, until we can collect all this information that we've talked about this morning would be.
Mr. Chairman, regarding DRB 200040 Pulte Group, I move that we defer the application until the next meeting. Come back, incorporating some of the suggestions discussed today. End of motion.
I second.
Okay, a motion by Mr. Brown, a second by Mr. Owen. All right, any comments or questions about the motion on the floor? There being none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All opposed? No opposition. Motion passes 6-0. Okay? Our next meeting is Friday, November 20th. If you can make it, although we're here at third Friday of every month, so if you can't make it on the 20th.
However, we need those drawings by the first of the month, not at the meeting.
Okay.
Yes, so, okay, thank you very much, Jason.
Thank you.
Travis, appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time this morning. Okay. Our next applicant is Avigo. I'll tell you what, let's take about a 5-minute recess while they come up and start getting set up this morning. So bear with us, we'll take a 5-minute, attempt a 5-minute recess. We'll be back here, let's get started back at 10:30, okay?
Two people leave already.
Yeah. Okay, good. The roof had some splits to it, and the balconies.
Hey, morning. Yeah, I can do that. Yes, the colors come next. I've got that sheet right there. We should be able just to, right.
Is there a section in there for the rooftop unit sightlines? I know we drew it, but I don't know if I would get it.
I don't know. I included all of the, here, I'll show, we can go over it real quick if I can. This guy. So we can, minimize this, but we'll keep it on the side so we can see. So, I think it's easier to use the mouse, and you just click through. That's at the end, actually. So here's our beginning. The site.
So Stephen had talked about this before he left. And so, we're showing it on the site plan as a future street, just showing.
I've gum. Do you want a piece of gum?
Brett and Kathy, if they do, really,
You want some blue gum?
that they may be confused.
Well, and then we have that temporary wall.
You bring 2 hats, so you can put one
I
on.
wanted to say something on the previous one. Felt awkward about it. I'm next, so I shouldn't say anything.
Dragon breath coming up. Okay.
That we would just modular dock, as it is temporary. and
Just say it's covered with everything big. No joke.
Right? And then, so let's see,
Just kind of roll through, let's see what.
landscape, and then a landscape, yeah, that was the tree plant, landscape, the enlargement showing the exact plant types. Yeah. One's a little weird, you'd have to probably zoom into that, but I think,
I'll just skip over that, because I've got the actual sample.
so these are the.
What are you talking about? Oh,
Yeah, I don't think it was a model view, I think it was just a CAD sample.
yeah.
I don't think I had that. Yeah, and then I just threw these in at the end.
Unless I put it in their packet and just to
Yeah.
give it to you.
Brett may have it.
It's not the first time
Another-
that's happened.
Right?
But they weren't moving. I mean, that neighborhood, they're not built, I mean, they're not being bought. I mean, he's got a good point. We were doing way better on this side than y'all are, just saying. Because I usually.
You should know.
Are those windows green?
We're on schedule now.
Are we?
All right, let's go ahead and end our recess
Only because we took.
and get going with our next applicant. So Avigo Healthcare. So good morning, welcome.
Oh, we'll see.
You'll introduce yourselves.
Green.
Good morning. I'm Jennifer Sprayberry with AEC. I'm the landscape architect on the project, and I'm going to start us off this morning talking about the site and the landscape.
Okay, good,
plans.
thank you.
So this is 100 North Main. It's located on, sorry, I'm within my presentation. We're located at Highway 9, and this is Cumming Street, the intersection. The building fronts Highway 9. This would be the front of the building, and we have a two-layer parking garage. The access for the top would be here, and then the bottom you would access from the Violet Garden Walk at the back. We have provided a sidewalk, pedestrian access so that you could get from Violet Walk to Highway 9.
How wide is that walk?
Pardon?
How wide is the walk, I'm sorry?
Oh, 5 foot?
Yeah, is there 5 feet going to be left after DOT?
Jennifer, don't those plans include, or Tracy, maybe they include, or there are the new DOT right away where it's going to be and things like that, correct?
So this site plan is showing the future Cumming Street, which aligns with Cumming Street. And ideally, the construction would happen at the same time, but that's not necessarily the case. And so we've shown, you can kind of see it kind of ghosted at the back there, where the access would still align with that top entrance along that future Cumming Street. In order to make this work for the site now, we would have this temporary wall, which I think it starts at about 1 foot. In the middle, it gets to about 7 feet and then goes to, I think, 4 foot at this side.
I mean, we'll push to the north, away from the building then, when it starts getting aligned, whenever that might happen. Okay.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
I got a nod over there.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm Tracy Ward, architect of record on this one.
To answer your question, and maybe Kathy or Brett can speak up because it's more of a process thing, but the idea when Cumming Street gets extended, it straddles the property line, so it does move away from our building. So for now, we've just got a private drive and it's pushed up against us.
Is there any dates when that would happen? I mean, there's a property right across the street.
Private drive will move away.
There is not, but we also, too, half of this is on the adjacent property, so we would have to. And I imagine that it may, we have a lot of people looking at that property to the north. It may be something that's done as a rezoning, similar to what happened with 100 North Main, where they set aside the land. But it's not funded at this time, that road.
So that, I guess the private drive right now is going to be like a right in, right out, correct? Is that how that's working? I'm just thinking there's a traffic light there, and then there's...
Yeah, I think with the traffic light, and you guys know more about that.
It's a right in, right out.
For the private drive to get into this new building, right? Maybe I'm not being clear.
At the rear.
Okay, so if I'm coming north on North Main Street, I'm heading, and I want to turn into I can't.
I think there is a left turn lane with the improved DOT.
Oh, okay, so DOT's going to okay. There's a lot going on right here.
I don't know the schedule of that either.
They're actually already buying,
Yeah, they...
Takes a while, though.
Right away, they're moving utilities now. So they had to actually set their building, it looks like it's farther set back, but when they put the 12-foot sidewalks over the front.
And again, the basis for my question on the site plan is why the building is so close to the existing sidewalk. That's what I'm trying to...
The northern sidewalk or the Main Street sidewalk?
Northern. So I'm reading it right.
There wouldn't be any existing on the north.
No.
You mean by the parking deck?
I'm sorry, on the north side, why the building, anyway, why the sidewalks and all that stuff is so crunched up right there?
Against the future road?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out, why it's so crunched on the north side.
Yeah,
Well, that road, because the land was required to be set aside, we had to get a minimal amount of roadway. Plus, on the other side, that house is on the list of contributing historic structures. So this is going to be, not the normal width, yeah.
What does that mean?
Which slows down traffic. You can have a 32-foot roadway, 28-foot roadway, but 24 is still acceptable.
What does that mean, contributing historic?
That means it's on what we did when we put the historic preservation ordinance together, we had a list of buildings from the Historical Society that they said were historic, and we didn't require people to come in and list their home, but when they come in through the rezoning, if it's on that list and it's contributing, we do ask them to save the house, work around it.
Okay, thank you.
So there's a little bit of instead of it's historic, it's they haven't gone through the process to finalize.
Okay. So if, I'm just looking at the site plan again, the access, if I'm coming south on North Main Street, I can turn right before I get to the building into that private drive and then come into the parking deck and park there. Can I get to the second level of the parking deck from inside the parking deck? No, okay.
They're two flat planes.
Okay. All right.
And Eric did say that they will be getting a GDOT permit, and then they'll have full access because of the signal once that's.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of different steps going on here with that intersection.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
that,
I
or
was
that.
reading these, or looking at these beginning, I was trying to figure out what was what, so, okay.
Yeah, and it almost seems like in the interim, you're going to have a private drive that's just slightly offset from the Cumming Street intersection, right?
Yeah, yes.
I'm trying to,
The geometry is a little.
Seems a bit, that's going to be,
But that also helps slow down traffic, and I think engineering's already reviewed it, and they've tweaked it a number of times. So I think that ghosted in background is what we hope the future.
Hope it gets here sooner than
And it
later.
does pull away. For now, we have a private drive that's right on top of us, and it's landscaped and concrete. concrete. I'll let Jennifer get into that, but
Okay.
hopefully that does move a little bit to the north in the future.
Okay.
Want to keep
All right, I'm sorry, we interrupted your site
no problem.
overview.
And so, yes, in the future, we will have that larger concrete sidewalk at the front. And so we've shown the connection to that here at the front with a big main walk. And we also, it shows on the landscape hardscape plans, there's a bench and seating area. And it correlates to the MARTA stop, the existing MARTA stop right now.
Any way you can influence Georgia Power to move the transformer
Yeah, right.
to a not so,
Yeah, the poles are the worst, yeah.
yeah, I agree, but that looks like to be a pretty big box too, that they're gonna, okay.
So it looks like the sidewalk
So the
along the private drive, you have them crossing in front of the entrance to the parking deck? Is that correct? Like any pedestrian has to cross?
Where are you, Holly,
They
where are
would,
you?
right here.
Yeah, like right where her hand is, like see
Oh, I
the
see.
arrows, so as opposed to going on the other side? I don't know, just that they have to cross in front of where the cars are.
Enters to the garage, you're saying?
Yeah.
Well,
that sidewalk on the north is really just for convenience. We see a lot of people using that.
yeah, you think about it, if you're in the parking deck, you're gonna be walking in the parking deck directly into the building.
Within.
And this is more, yeah, you're right, you're not even sure who's gonna use that sidewalk.
And again, ultimately, with the new extension, there would be a sidewalk built with the new street.
Here
Okay.
to connect.
So is this, I just want to make sure I'm looking at the right site I'm actually on Google Street View. There's a White House on the site now that's going to come down? So that transformer, that's a new transformer?
Correct.
Because I don't see it it's not there today. Okay.
Right.
Almost looks like there's it's probably a traffic light control box on the right.
Yeah, they're,
Okay.
I'm sorry, all right, continue,
I
we
think,
keep
I think
interrupting
that's it.
you.
No, if you have any additional questions.
Stormwater detention, is that?
So that is showing, that's actually showing on the tree and landscape plan. So it would be underneath the deck, underground detention.
Is there any kind of dumpster recycling for this facility?
I believe that would be within the deck. Is that right, Tracy?
We're going to have a service.
Okay.
So come pick it up
Yeah,
on
because we just don't have.
okay, you may have some private or some sensitive information that has to be shredded or something, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's all office, by the way.
Okay.
How does the topography work on this site once it's graded?
Let's go to the perspective views to explain.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to?
Well, let's see if I
Just the arrow.
just hit the forward. Technologically inept.
Next one.
Oh, trust me, I was out there doing that.
Let's see, how do I shrink it?
Just zoom in.
Oh, okay. Let me run through these model views real quick. It will give you maybe a little bit more understanding of the overall. So obviously, this is looking down on it. And while we're here, the question may come up later. These two big boxes, right, or can you see my mouse in there? Yeah. These two big boxes are the rooftop units, which are pushed to the middle of the roof, so you can't see them from the ground. So, but for the surrounding buildings, it might be taller looking down on this. It's a fairly clean roof. There's not a lot of scattered condensers. So it's actually, in terms of looking at commercial roofs, it's not bad. There's a little bit of a terrace, rooftop terrace that's private for the tenants only, and that was, I think, a part of the council review. So it's not public access. And this model view has the landscape plan just kind of slid underneath. I didn't project the plantings because it would cover up the building so you could see what we're doing.
Tracy, before you leave that, just looking at the site elevations, kind of the ground floor. So going from North Main Street that private drive is pretty level, I'm going to say, along the building.
These other views might help you understand a
Okay.
little bit. So the main floor is lifted up out of the ground just by a couple of feet on, this is the Main Street side. And you can see the private drive rising slightly on that north side, the right side, as it allows automobiles to turn and cut that corner, because that's the entrance to the deck. And then let me keep going. Going back towards the south, the grade starts to drop. That's the south side. So the deepest point is roughly right here where the logo is, and we're down 6 feet, 6 or 8 feet at the most. And then it starts to come back up again. The deck picks up out of the ground, but the grade is lifting up with it. So that's that, what is that, west side auto entry. And then I think that's up on top of the deck, looking back on the building there. That's the most grade change you're going to see, and a lot of that is a temporary sort of solution until that new road comes in. But you can see how the new drive kind of lifts up, so it matches our main floor, and then it tails back off to match existing grade.
But that's
Over the property line.
Yeah, so the private drive kind of stops there, though, because it's got
It
a
does.
T-bone or whatever you call
It
it.
does. In fact,
So
there are
that's where
two
that side,
bollards at the end. I don't think I'm showing them on this.
and that's where that sidewalk is that we were just talking
Right,
about, kind of
right.
has that, okay. Okay. So is the deck, the top level of the deck, the same floor elevation as the first floor of the building?
Yes, in fact, the
Much
main
taller.
lobby is entered from the rear. I think I've got,
It's all pretty level there.
yeah, you see how you can see through here? That's actually, I think I have another view. Yeah. See, that's actually the vestibule in the front.
And that's what you
entrance.
drive, that's what you
You
turn
park on the
left,
top level, you're walking right into that door.
and that's what you turn left out the private
Correct.
drive. You turn left and you actually kind of go through the building or underneath
Correct.
that to get to the top level of the parking deck. Okay.
Yeah, you're kind of cutting that corner. This is a stair on the corner. So the automobiles are kind of cutting that corner to get on the top level.
Okay. Has there been any, just curious, any issues about fire department access around the building and all that? Sometimes they like to make sure they can get their vehicles.
All that's been discussed and is being discussed. I
Okay.
think the land disturbance permit is in discussion now. being
Okay,
reviewed
all right.
by everybody. But I think we've addressed everything.
They won't fit their fire truck through your little entrance there.
No, they can't drive on the top level, and we're gonna design it for 60,000.
Okay.
But they do have access on at least 3 sides. But Steve would be able to address that, but it is being answered.
Okay. Is the deck a precast deck or a poured in place? I guess it's probably poured in place.
It's
Well-
poured in place, but the veneer on the outside is brick.
Okay.
And then on that top level where the stripes kind of stop is just a trowel rubbed on hard stucco.
Okay.
But again, don't let these views deceive you, because there's a lot of heavy plantings. You're hardly going to see this deck when the plants are done,
Is the,
especially in a couple of years.
okay, is the first floor of the deck then a closed deck?
It is.
You have to ventilate it then?
I do, yeah.
Okay. So you'll have some fans or some openings?
Well, the only thing you'll see, and I think it shows up right there in that corner under that window,
Right,
that's the exhaust.
for the deck?
It sucks all the bad air into that corner and then blows it out there.
I don't think we can improve it now.
Does everybody
A
know
good
what
architect would address that.
does everybody know what a closed deck and an open deck is? Yes, okay. You have to have so much ventilation to be considered an open deck.
Right, and to ventilate the automobile fumes.
That's 50%, is it not?
It is, yeah, so we're nowhere near that. And we didn't want to punch a bunch of holes in the bottom, because it would let all that light back out, and none of our neighbors wanted that, so
Okay,
it's pretty solid walls around.
okay.
And like I said, even this view would be heavily planted. We're showing a little bit of ivy on it just for graphics sake, but it's a lot thicker than that. You're hardly going to see it. The colors, I'll go ahead and just kind of finish the overview, and then you can ask questions. The colors are fairly simple. This photorealistic technology to do this is kind of amazing.
Then finish and then we'll.
This is pretty close to what I think is reality. And the idea here is that it's a stone building. It's an off-white, cream color stone.
Is that like the hotel?
Veneer.
that you
Now,
built?
can I afford real stone? No. And Zach's back there clapping. No. So what we're going to do is pull off the visual with brick. So there are some precast parts. Outside materials under these lights. This is the brick. It's not painted. Don't go in the shop. White paint.
That's for you, Rick.
Actual fired brick. And in the sunlight, it's almost an exact match for this precast, which I've used on many other projects, including most recently 55 Roslyn Street, which I think came out great. So imagine the mortar and precast details in this color. You won't see that red inside because it'll be full of this mortar.
So is the brick on the second and third floor?
It's on all floors.
Oh, okay.
And then on the bottom floor where you see those rusticated stripes, that's this brick. And then as the grade drops a few feet around the other sides, it's all this brick with that same sandy colored mortar. Then anything painted, which those profile cornices are going to look like cast, but it's a product which I've used again on other projects, like on the top cornice of Liberty Hall, that Italianate. That's all a product out of Canada, and it's a thick, it's not stucco, it's a concrete finished, like a 1/4-inch thick concrete on foam, but it has real distinct lines. It looks like painted wood, but it'll be there forever. Woodpeckers, squirrels can't get into it. It's not drive it. So those things that need to be painted, again, would be that same, and I may have to play with that color a little bit once we get a sample out in the sunlight. But this is, everything's going to be in that same general creamy white, again, stone sort of aesthetic. And then it's fairly simple because you got that creamy color, and then you have sort of a copper patina green. And again, reality kicks in, and I can't pick the custom color on Marvin windows, which like triples the cost of windows. But they have something really close that's a standard, and a Sherwin-Williams match to it would be all the green, metal, those steel balconies. So it's, as far as a color scheme, it's fairly.
Tracy, is the door the same colors too?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just the light on your rendering makes it look lighter.
And just, again, so you understand that light is kind of bleaching it, but it's the same color. That front whole entrance, depending on who the tenant down there, may or may not be a true entry. We're giving the illusion of that being the front door, but as we just discussed, in reality, the functional front door is at the back, which is why I made those doors solid. They're not glass. Could be a desk right behind them.
So what are you contemplating for signage for the tenant?
We're just putting that banner, that blade sign for now. I don't know what it will read. The top, above that centerpiece, that top balcony where it says 100 in Maine, we had a couple of folks say they don't like the in. So what we discussed was maybe, and that's a precast, that's an actual precast piece. If that bothers you, we can play with the wording, and I think what we kind of came to, and Councilman Mitchell seemed to agree to this, is maybe just putting the numeral 100. So we're going to play with that a little bit. The other graphics, the other signage would have to come back to you later anyway, so we're not proposing anything.
Yeah, I'm just wondering so it's going to probably be a blade sign or where that banner is, or what?
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm just noticing I don't know where it would go on the facade, right?
It's just for, overall aesthetics of that visual. I'm not proposing a banner to say 100 Main. It's just, it'll probably be a tenant. And my client on this is on the 3rd floor, But so far, the second and the bottom floors are unknown, so who knows what that blade sign will want to say. So we're not asking, you can exclude that from any approvals that might come today.
Okay, let's kind of drop back a little bit. We were talking about the site plan, and then we kind of jumped to the elevations
Yeah,
and signage.
sorry, I just wanted to give you
That's all
the
right.
overall, and then we
Okay.
can go back and answer.
Let's
Back
hop
to a
back
landscape plan,
or let's go back to the site plan, make sure everybody's, I guess, comfortable, and see if there's any questions for Jennifer on the site plan at this point. So anything left about site?
There was discussion about trees on the neighbor, I guess there's tree save over there, and I guess there was an arborist report done on those trees and whether they could be saved or not saved. What did that report come out with, Jennifer?
We do have an arborist report. We are able to preserve all of the neighboring trees because they're all very close, and so we've kind of delineated which ones are on which property technically. And so we are showing that the neighboring trees will be preserved.
They in good shape though?
Not especially.
That matters, I guess.
No, not especially.
What are they?
It's a mixture. Yeah, we've got some sweet gum, pecan, a couple maples, water oak. They're kind of smaller. We've got 12-inch, 8, 7, 8.
And you're only encroaching to those 20%?
Less than 20.
Less than 20?
I assume that in part, your wall of the parking deck lower level on that side is enabling you to maintain the grade there, which is in part of your design.
Right. There's actually a storm water line, existing path now, and we're keeping that pipe running through the middle of underneath our deck and letting back out on that south side, as it does now. We're just putting it in a new pipe.
Wow, how big is that? Roughly? 11, okay. But you're putting in a new pipe, because that's right by your detention.
Right, yeah.
Underground detention.
The diameter of that.
We have it. The grading.
That's all right, you don't have to.
Sorry.
There,
Yeah,
you got it.
24.
Bingo.
Oh, yeah.
It's 24 inch. Yeah, reinforced concrete pipe.
There, see?
Yep, 24.
Yeah. Price goes to the guesser.
And then you got one that, yep. So where does your stormwater, you get it, you collect it in the vault there, then where does it go?
Out the other side.
No,
Out the other side.
thank you.
I think we're connecting here. This
I'm going
is
to send you
a
back to the
question.
parking deck.
Yeah, I think it's connecting to the west back to
Okay,
the
all right.
existing system in that townhome development.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, very good. Any site lighting that's occurring, maybe some on the parking deck on the upper floor, any?
Yeah, and the rendering, that sort of wall washing is pretty minimal. Those lights are tiny
Okay.
and they're LED, so that our electrical engineer's saying that's pretty much negligible in terms of photometrics. So the only photometrics we're showing is the basement, which again, there's only way that gets out of the building, and that's the vehicular opening. And the upper level of the deck, and those photometrics are shown.
What about lighting on the?
Yeah, Brett, are there any staff requirements, city requirements coming up as far as quote-unquote shading that upper deck? Because we've seen that in past projects for whatever reason.
There's no conditions in it.
Nothing like that? Okay.
Shading? You mean like
Yeah,
shading?
like,
Trees and
we
the-
just
in the deck.
saw another office building that had a parking deck, and it had to be 20% of the top deck had to be shaded.
So there's some interesting proposed
I think, isn't that?
structures to handle that.
Citywide, though? What is it then?
I think that's in the, I think that's part of the
Overlay, maybe?
eco district.
Oh, eco-district overlay, yeah.
Well, we had that over on Old Milton on the other side
Yeah.
of 400.
We've talked about it in other places, but I think,
It's required.
I think you're
Okay.
right. No, it's
picture all of the different things. but I think it's
Northwinds,
in
I think, wasn't it?
Eco-district.
Wasn't it the one, the development on Northwind? Wasn't
Yeah,
that, that was the parking garage, right, that we, that
Well,
had
the
that
old one, the
requirement?
one on Old Milton on
I
the
think the
side of
20%
Fort
is
had that too.
eco-district, but
And
we've
the-
tried it in other locations.
Okay, because I know
One
there
next
was
to
a
the gas station.
parking deck, Old Milton and 400 on the east side,
We tried it
couple of
there.
those, okay.
So I'm looking at the photo.
I mean, not that staff, sorry, Pat.
No worries, go ahead.
It'd be awesome if Tracy can do something to get some things in there. The staff would definitely not balk at that idea of trying to get some greenery somehow on that roof.
At least maybe in the corners.
We actually are showing a couple trees and large planters, similar to what we did at Wellstar on the top deck. So we are showing that on the tree plans.
I mean, I'm not particularly, I'm just wondering if it's going to come up later. That's my only question. And looking at the photometrics, and it's, I've zoomed in, I guess it's P2? P2. Am I seeing 4s and 3s and 5s near the edge of the top of that deck?
That's lower level.
That's the lower level.
That's the base.
The lower level,
Yes.
so,
And you can't, it doesn't come out.
Let's go to,
And here's the top.
okay, so
The
there's,
top just has pole lights around.
where's the, is that the same sheet, Jennifer?
This is the top, the upper level.
What sheet number is that?
Oh, sorry, P2?
P2. All right, so what are the top numbers then? Help me out here, because I'm seeing,
3,
Yours?
3, 9,
4s or 5s?
4, 5, where there's a
2, 3s,
pole.
and 4s.
4s and 3s are by the poles.
so those are, that's on the edge of the deck, right?
Correct, and I think there's a baffle on that.
And so we show,
Rendering didn't show any baffles.
this is the other,
Oh, that's the bollards down on the ground along that sidewalk.
right, but is it, oh, it's not showing the top.
So that photometric that you had right there, Jennifer, did that include that top deck? Because you've got, you're basically zeros right at
The edge.
right at the edge of the deck and the edge of your property,
Mm-hmm.
which would be the code requirement. What about the other side of the deck?
Yeah, where's the rest of it?
Yeah, side that, right there, that side.
On the outside, you mean, of that,
Here.
where those poles are?
Yeah,
That's just the,
yeah, the photometric
Yeah.
didn't do the whole,
that's the one you said was washing and when,
Well, we don't have any wall washers out there on the deck.
Oh,
It's
okay.
only on the three-story building.
So when I look back at the rendering, there was the old style kind of all glass lamp on top of the poles. So what's that gonna look like? What's that light gonna look like? Is it gonna be that silvery LED light? How far out is that washing? What does that look like from the surrounding neighborhood looking back at it?
I know we talked about a baffle.
I've got some genuine concerns about the lighting on that deck and how that washes out into the surrounding neighborhood. You may need to do an updated,
yeah, I think,
What-
we'll definitely need it for, the buildings to update that to.
We certainly can, and I know we discussed having a baffle in that globe to keep the light from going backwards outside.
well, which is great, but when you're looking across it and you've got the lamps on this side baffled, but the lamps on that side are coming back this way, those aren't baffled. So I'm trying to figure out how all that's going to work.
We'll have-
It's, in that neighborhood especially.
The only other fixtures are on either side of the vehicular entrance on that side, and I'd like them to be gas. We haven't made that decision yet. So they're not throwing off much light, whatever they end up being. It's only these poles.
Okay.
So these poles are on the second level of the deck?
They're on
Yes.
the 4-foot.
oh, I think they're like
barricade
8-foot
wall.
poles.
So they end up being 8 or 10 feet above the parking surface.
oh, I thought they were,
Put them
weren't they?
20 feet above the road at the back, above Lily Garden,
Yeah.
and where the tree canopy's gonna be at, Jennifer, on that back side.
So on the backside, we do have preserved the tree cover on the neighboring property, so that's pretty substantial. Sorry, we can kind kind of see that here. So this is all existing tree material that will remain on the south side. And on the north side, we're providing trees up at the street level. This slopes down to the sidewalk. And this side, we have Shumard oaks going in.
So I think that's kind of where you're going. What are they going to look at? However, has it been looked at that those have to be, those poles on that deck? They can't be wall mounted?
You know, that was my first suggestion, and the electrical engineer came back with this. Maybe I just need to argue a little harder.
If this is an office park, you know, you can get by with that light washing out. And you know the color of these LEDs now it's that grayish, bright color coming out, and it's an example of it just across the street at nighttime when you're looking in front of the community over there. So I've got some real genuine concerns on the lighting of that deck and the wash that's coming out, and you know, the pure height of the fixtures. And
I think where you're going is the photometric space shows 0 at the line, but when you're in one of the houses back
Right.
or on the street and you're looking over there, you're looking at light.
Mm-hmm.
The light may not be transferring, but you're looking directly into.
I'm perfectly willing to look at another scheme that keeps the light fixture itself down lower and just kind of wash the floor of that deck.
I mean, and understandably, safety and walking to cars, I get that stuff, but there's another way to do this.
Yeah, I think so.
I didn't have anything else on the site.
Okay.
While we are on site, though, there was a condition about that front, I think it's a pecan tree, and doing some pedestrian upgrades with that tree, or around that. Do you want to go over that real quick while we're right there?
So
This
we have
front area?
conditions.
Yeah.
They
That's
are,
right.
it says, an amenity space shall be developed on the building, that's rooftop. Landscape improvements, including the existing tree area, should be a park-like setting with heavy decorative landscape, hardscape walls, and seating. That's gonna be in that's that area right there that she's gonna talk about.
Well, so at the front, we've provided along the future sidewalk a seating area with hardscape at the tree. And with the landscape, we've tried to keep it kind of native / adapted plantings with year-round interest, evergreen, flowering shrubs, and mixture of textures as well. But the seating area would be a hardscaped area with a bench, trash receptacle. I mentioned before, it aligns with the MARTA drop-off, so it could potentially be used.
Is that the only area you put in the benches and receptacles?
Yes, here, but we
It's
also have the entry at the front.
And those are the ones shown here, these stainless, Victor Stanley ones?
Yes,
Okay.
so.
All the plantings underneath that tree are dense shade tolerant?
Yes, we have azalea, like mid-level azalea, and the gumpo, I think, is a smaller, the blumathon at the back to create some layering effect. We've got some hydrangeas at the side.
What's out by street?
We've got some autumn fern, osmanthus, dwarfiopon. This is, again, the blumathon azalea, some sweet spire, I believe, and then just little accents of perennial and ground cover up by the front.
I want to put something real quick on the record, because we have a big problem across the city when folks are putting in these trash receptacles out by the benches. It's not being remembered that that's the tenant's responsibility to take care of that area. So I just want to put that on the record that you got to dump the trash. Your responsibility, not the city's.
Jeez.
You would,
Yeah,
They forget it, huh? They forget.
especially close to a bus stop.
yes, and everywhere. I mean, it's great that we're doing them, but as we get kind of cleaning company or manager of the week or whatever, kind of these things that change over, it never gets passed along, and it's a,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, and one of the things, I don't know if this has become an issue with some of these, but I'm dealing with this issue in our neighborhood right now. When you have these open tops and it rains, they fill up with water.
Yeah, I think
Is this covered?
This would
Because these
be-
don't look covered like they have a rain.
probably like the city detail that's got the covered ones like we have out here,
I think so.
kind of thing. I didn't know if I saw a detail on
They're,
it, but I.
they show a different, they show something different on the.
It looks open top in the spec
an
sheet
open
they're
top.
showing here. So just keep that in mind. If they're open, they fill up with water, and then you've got gallons of water in there. So. Unless they're undercover somewhere, obviously. But.
Okay. All right, any other site? Now, of course, we're talking about landscaping too. Why don't you, while you're up here, walk around the
Go through the landscape.
landscaping for us?
Okay, so we have discussed the tree save on site, saving this large specimen tree. It's a 28-inch pecan. And then the bordering trees on the south. We are removing one specimen tree. It's approximately in this location where the drive would be. And so we're showing partial recompense for that. We're not able to meet the full recompense on site with the space given. But as I said, we're at the front, it's heavily landscaped at the front and the rear where we have the space to do that. And we're trying to keep plantings native and adaptive species. And we have a mix of evergreen flowering accents and a mix of different textures with the ferns and the inkberry and the hydrangea and the azalea. The azaleas are evergreen variety.
What are the trees, Jennifer?
The trees, so along,
No, along the frontage, along 9 or Main.
crepe myrtle at the front, here, and then we have the hornbeam to satisfy the requirements for the landscape strip.
So,
And we've got the critical root zone of this tree is fairly large, so we're not able to plant in this area. But at the front of the building, we have the two crepe myrtle flanking the corners and the main, or the,
is there any existing streetscape trees along Highway 9 that is consistent?
outside of this
From
property.
site, from site to site to site?
I don't believe in this stretch we have that on Highway 9,
Gosh, the only thing you may have is down by CVS,
right?
maybe the closest thing.
Yeah, it's just been sitting there. It was a residence 30 years ago.
It's kind of an odd area.
At least.
And
Okay.
so the rest of the trees, we're providing a columnar trees in the landscape strip. We've got the European hornbeam and a Valley Nor Trident maple staggered down the north side, I guess. Is that right? Yeah.
What's the material on that wall, Jennifer?
On the wall against the building?
No, the wall on the outside of the private drive.
I thought it was brick.
Isn't there a wall there?
Yes, this is the temporary wall until the road is built.
And what's the material?
I thought I saw somewhere it said brick.
Temporary wall and a brick.
Yeah, I think it's a modular block proposed, but we could, put the fig vines on it, kind of screen that.
And what's the height of it?
So on this side, we started about 1 foot. I think we end at 4 feet, and in the middle, it's at the highest 7 feet from the lower grade here.
Yeah, I'd like to know what that block is, or it's not just a keystone triangular face.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a 3-piece system, stuff like that.
Right. And we
With the sort of earth tone. I understand it's temporary.
right.
You can take it apart and put it somewhere else when it's all said and done.
Well, how about the landscaping that's there too?
That's where I'm getting into that.
Okay.
What the face of that is decorated with.
And so you would only see that face from the drive. This is the lower side, and the trees are at a higher elevation.
See, it says, I'm sorry, here's where, let me find the drawing. Brick veneer retaining wall to match architectural wall and railing designed by others. And that's on drawing C 4.0. I knew I saw it
Yeah,
somewhere.
I was not aware of that.
It will have to have a railing because of that drop off, so. A guardrail.
Mhm.
And if it's modular, you're gonna have your geofabric modular, so if, that'll go on the.
That's not modular. It's brick.
I'm just saying, if it is, you get that laydown area on the high side, and if the retaining side is on the private drive, how do you plan on working that geofabric on a?
Yeah, I wish Steve were here to answer that, but I think because we're so close to the
Where
property
is he?
line, we can't do a,
Right.
a papered wall.
So-
like that. We have to turn the footing
Just things
hill
turn
towards
into my
west.
head.
Yeah.
Mhm. There are systems, you can put the tubes in basically for the trees, plan that beforehand in the geofabric. Because we run into this situation a lot where we're up against property lines and have to,
That laydown area for the geofabric.
right,
level
right.
trees. Okay. So that'd be something to get cleared up.
And also, this is a question here again. At the point when the future Cumming Street goes in, that linear space in there will have to be redone with your currently proposed planting, and that would go away.
Yes.
What a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this satisfies the LDP requirements for the site at this time, I guess.
Just need David to have him leave the trees in the burlap and the wire baskets.
You can take them out and move them.
They
Yeah.
don't grow very fast that way.
Well, we still have our fingers crossed that in the next year and a half, that it takes to build this, that maybe Cumming Street gets extended, and we don't have to have a temporary situation.
Okay.
Well, and so we've got the black gum tree showing on the south property line to meet the landscape strip requirements. The back of the building is also heavily landscaped around the sidewalk connection. We've got the Shumard Oaks flanking the entrance to the bottom level of the garage. Nellie Stevens and ligustrum, fringe flower. We've incorporated some grasses in this area.
The water vaults are right there, so that's a bit of a challenge.
They are, I think they're intended in the way that the civil has designed it, is that they just have the hatch at the top, and so that the majority of the vault can be covered a little more, and so we just have that hatch exposed. So it's a little bit shielded in that sense. And then we have the grasses and evergreen shrub surrounding.
How we decorating up the size of this parking deck?
So we have a tight space. We've got the emerald green arborvitae, fern material.
How wide is that, Jennifer?
I believe it's probably about 4 or 5 feet.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
With the water line?
3 or 4.
How deep is that water line?
I'm sorry?
Is there a water line right there?
There is.
Then down that very corner, if you keep going down, that corner right there of the deck, where it's, what do you got, about 18 inches between sidewalk and
Yeah, it's very tight.
the water line right there?
Yeah.
There's no easements with that water line?
Well, those are just ferns at this point.
Ferns?
Right here, where it gets so tight. It's really only 18 inches.
5 autumn ferns.
The grade is pushing the sidewalk down. We've got some grade coming down to the sidewalk here.
Why would you need an easement?
For a water line?
It's serving our building on our property.
No, I'm just asking, is there an easement?
We're not showing one. It's private.
Other projects we've asked for fines on parking decks, that sort of thing, whatever.
Yeah, the rendering made it look like there was a covering on the wall, right?
Yeah, I think we've talked about it, maybe didn't get into Jennifer's drawings, but I think we agreed in conversation with Kathy and others that this outside surface of that parking deck could have creeping fig or whatever appropriate vine and landscape. Something to help soften that.
Fig looks great when it's warm, then it freezes.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
All dies back.
Maybe there's a better species, but the idea, we did agree to do that.
And then screening on the south side, you know, we've got the evergreen, the Nellie R. Stevens, again, the arborvitae. Oh, we do say the creeping fig, planted at even spacing along the base. A mixture of holly. And that continues all the way up the south.
Is this creepy fig because it's evergreen? That's the only reason it's chosen?
It's a good climber too. It does really well. Gets you some pretty good coverage.
I thought fig was not evergreen.
It's evergreen until it freezes.
If it gets the
And
frosty
then it's
edge,
frozen
yeah.
evergreen.
Right.
It's evergreen except when it's not, okay.
In ideal conditions, it would.
Because I used it at my house. I ripped it out because in the winter it looked terrible. It
I do
just
too,
was all
yeah.
dead, looked dead and brown.
It wasn't an ivy?
No, it was fig.
If it's, mine does the same.
If it does decline in the winter in that location, it's going to be out of the way anyway. And you almost don't need it because you've got an evergreen screen along that wall.
Not in that back corner, it's just the.
It's, I don't know why, though, you would ever pick something that's going to potentially turn brown in the wintertime to cover your wall.
Yeah.
Why, there's got to be
It
other
looks
choices.
really ugly when it dies
Wouldn't
back.
do that.
It does. It's in the front of my house. Courtesy of Mrs. Jiggle. And I can't
Okay.
go.
Anything else about landscaping? I'm trying to keep us moving.
It will not go away.
Anything else? No? Okay. All right. We talked a little bit about exterior elevations and materials, or exterior elevations and materials. Any,
I thought,
I'll tell you what, Tracy, maybe just, I know you talked about it, take one elevation, just walk us from ground level, floor level to the top of the building and describe the materials to us again, if you will, just as a kind of a refresher. And maybe it's the, or even the photorealistic, there you go, okay, good,
Yeah, this one's easier than
perfect,
the rendering.
good.
Let's see, let me start from the bottom. So any of that sort of pedestal base that ends up visible as the grade's moving around is that darker brick with a sand color mortar, the same color mortar as the precast. Can anybody see? I don't have anything.
Yep.
Put it on. All of this surface field brick is the same brick. It's that white brick.
Okay.
Anyway, it's that particular brick with the same sandy white mortar that's the same color as the precast. And hopefully, Mike Doyle's here, hopefully our contractor will use the same subcontractor for all that, precast and masonry, so that we can control those colors.
Put it in the specs.
That's one step. The other step is making them actually read the specs. So the bulk of it is that white brick, even these jack arches, where we don't have these decorative panels, and that is an actual light, as it shows on the rendering. We kind of drop those panels, and these headers are the precast again.
Okay. And you got the jack headers up there on the third floor then, huh?
Yes, those will be cut from that same white brick.
Wow, okay.
Which they did, by the way, on 55 Roswell Street. They actually, in their warehouse, actually sliced the brick to make that jack arch. It looks terrific. So these newels are that composite product, as well as this cornice up high and this cornice down low. And once that's painted and we put some false joints in it, it'll look like precast. And it is a concrete surface. It's not foam. And then the windows will, hopefully, if they're in budget, a aluminum clad window with very thin mullions to look like a steel, or in this case, kind of a copper window.
Kind of a patinaed copper window.
Yeah,
Copper
yeah,
window.
and they actually have the little dropped, you can't really see it because we have this in the sketch mode, the little drop corbels under that upper sash, so they look like old double hung, but they're not, they're fixed, because we don't want to, you can't open the windows of an office building and maintain the envelope quality.
Panels made of, Tracy?
This panel in the middle?
What are those?
It's also a composite material, and it's got a little in and out pattern, so it casts a little bit of a shadow, has a little bit of detail, but again, it'll look like metal. All this green should appear as metal. As
And
in fact.
those green.
Oh, by the way, these window sills are precast as well.
And the little round emblem or whatever in the, what's the intent there of the green panels?
It's a light.
That's a light, okay.
Yeah. Let me go to the,
There we go, okay.
it's actually an LED light, and that's
Okay.
an actual fixture we've already selected, so it's just a real faint glow.
What about those larger lights on each side?
Those are gas.
Okay, those are going to be gas.
Yeah, these big sconces will be gas, that chandelier there will be gas. Wow. The only, and I've got, let's see if we show it. Yeah, see these two on the side? So wherever we have a balcony, those are gas.
What about the entrance over there? Are those different?
Over here?
Their entrance, yeah. They're same.
These are all gas. All these decorative sconces and lanterns around the building are just a little subtle flickering gas.
And that balcony that's in that, just at the top center there, what's the material on that balcony? I think it matches.
It's all steel.
It's all painted steel?
Yep,
And that will be a real balcony, so you can go out there.
it is. It's, can't remember, 6 feet out, so it's a functioning balcony.
Okay,
Do you
just
need
like you got one on the, got like one on the front too.
Same as on 55 Russell Street. Yeah. But we may detail it a little different, but it's structurally the same thing.
Will you ever have furniture or anything out there, or is it just to like walk and wave and?
I guess that would be up to the tenant. You know, if you're concerned about that, I guess we could make sure that comes back to you with the signage package.
That's where they're gonna throw the confetti.
Yeah,
When the Braves win the World Series, they're gonna throw the confetti off the balcony.
That's in the front,
Yeah, that would be over here.
right there, yeah.
And the tenant needs to clean up all the stuff.
Along with the emptying the
Yes,
trash.
That's why it's an open top on the trash can, so it can go right in the trash can.
And the rain can go in there
Then
too.
another balcony, the lower balcony in front of the building, that's a precast balustrade, I'm assuming?
Over here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, that one's precast, where this one goes back to the metal. It may have some precast corbels under it, but most of them are that steel, and we're gonna, you know, kind of expose the bolts and the rivets and kind of make it look a little bit industrial.
Okay. And then Tracy, rooftop penthouse or whatever you got up there, what,
There's that image.
The little
It's a party top.
thing that you're talking about?
Wrong way. It's a private, controlled access for the tenants of the building, which I think was a requirement of the council approval, so.
Do they have to stay in that one space, or they can go anywhere on the building?
No, there's actually going to be, we haven't figured out how to do
Gonna
it
put
or what we
something
want to do, but between those planters will be some sort of a fencing guard. I
Maybe
mean, if you wanted to be
clear
stupid and crawl over it, I guess you could, but
and
It
what's,
appears raised. Is it raised, Tracy?
the flooring is on a pedestal system, so yeah, it's about a foot off the actual roof.
what's the actual roof material? Is it,
Still in discussions, but what we're showing here is like a teak or an ipe,
oh, okay.
2x2.
And that's the raised area.
Yeah, it's like a computer floor, you know, it sits on little
Yep.
plastic pedestals.
Okay.
And then the roof itself is a white, you know, membrane.
White TPO or something?
Right. This is a louver screen, so it's not only blocking the visual to that rooftop unit, but it's blocking the noise as well.
So
The other one's hidden back here, so the noise and the visual's not as big a deal from the roof.
Is that building portion on top there all open other than the elevator floor, I assume? Or is there a
Yeah,
restroom or
this is
anything
the
up there?
stair, this extra pop-up here is the elevator, and then this is just a little mechanical closet.
So no restrooms
No.
or anything like that up there?
Nope.
So I guess because of the height of the building, you're not going to see anything, sightline type thing.
Right. Right, and some of these,
We don't
some of
have
these views kind of depict that. I mean, you don't see it.
With the zoning along here, could anything be taller, or is this about as high as you can go, do you know, on this?
This particular building does have I read it, it says 3 stories, 46 feet.
That was a condition, or is
Yeah.
that the zoning?
That's a condition.
Yeah, so I'm just.
It may line up with the zoning, but that's a
Yeah,
condition.
I'm just wondering, as far as being able to see anything on the roof, could there be taller buildings that get built in the future alongside this?
Could be.
Yeah. So then you could potentially see the roof of this.
Yeah, which is why I think Tracy kind of stated earlier on, he worked hard to kind of make it a really as clean as you can. I mean, I think when you're the first, you have a little bit of advantage, and if somebody builds beside you and they don't like your view,
Too bad.
they,
That point.
yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering about the screening on the rooftop units, whether it should go,
Well,
around
All
the
the way
side, at
I
least
think if
three
you
sides.
add it all the way around,
At least
you're-
3 sides.
you're making it even worse, because I think you'll, and I have some section views with that sight line that I think we forgot to put in the packet. I can make sure you see that. But because these two boxes are pushed so far into the roof, and that parapet wall that's going around, the roof is kind of moving up and down the drain. So it's 4 to 5 feet, the parapet is.
Okay.
So from the ground, you don't see those. In fact, you barely see the whole stair and elevator pop up, much less those rooftop units.
Yeah, again, I'm just wondering if a taller building goes in on the right side of this.
I don't think
think that's
it would be any taller. I mean, representing developers,
No,
we'd
is it-
love to do
About
4
them.
stories, but we're just not.
If you're gonna be taller, then you're gonna look down on whatever's next to you, that's
Yeah,
the
they're gonna
problem.
need
Yeah, and I'm just asking a simple question, whether that screen should wrap around the side of
There are-
the unit.
there are no simple questions.
Sorry, question
Upside
withdrawn,
down.
Your Honor.
They're going down in smoke and flames.
I withdraw my question.
The other side is on the rear of the building, because you've got residential kind of
Right,
back there.
Right.
And that's a multi-story.
back here.
Yeah, back there, that's multi-stories, right? So folks, I guess if they climb up on the second floor, they may be able to see a part of the
They're
rooftop.
definitely looking down on that parking deck lot.
Yeah.
We'll address that lighting as we discussed before, but actually seeing the roof,
Like these people
I
come,
don't think they'll see
Right.
it.
All right. Okay, anything else? We talked site, landscaping, elevations, materials. We'll hold off on signage,
Lighting and photometrics.
and we address photometrics.
Mr. Chairman, I'll start off with the site plan for DRB 200041. I move that we approve the site plan as in the packet and present it today in the motion.
second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Brown, a second by Ms. Palmer. Any further questions or comments about the motion on the floor?
Oh, wait.
Oh,
Public
you know what?
We forgot to ask for
I didn't, did I?
We haven't voted on it yet, so.
No, we haven't. So, by the way, is there any public comment that would like to make comments on this application? Not now. Not that you're sitting up here.
Is your name John Q?
All right. There's no public comment, so thank you for that reminder. Mrs. Palmer?
Are we in discussion?
Yes.
Should we,
Was there a second? Oh, we don't.
should we add are you considering the deck lighting as part of site plan, or are you gonna
I would consider
address
part of
that in
lighting.
another?
Yeah, site
Okay.
lighting, yeah.
Lighting.
Yeah, yep. I think that's, okay. This is just site plan. All right, any other comments, questions? There being none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion to approve the site plan, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All opposed? No opposition. Motion passes 6-0. Okay?
If you want.
All right, Mr. Chairman, regarding DRB 200041. Motion to approve elevation of materials as presented today.
Second?
Okay, motion by Mr. Swing, a second by Mr. Brown. Any comments, questions about the motion for exterior elevations of materials? There being none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All opposed, no opposition. Motion passes 6-0. Okay. Materials. Right.
Mr. Motion. I'd like to make the
People call me
Kramer.
that. People call me that too.
Mr. Chairman, Regarding DRB 200041, with regard to site lighting, I make the motion, we defer that for applicant to come back the next meeting in the motion.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion by Mr. Brown, a second by Mr. Owen. Any further comments or questions about the motion to defer site lighting? There being
Can I ask a
none?
question
Oh,
on that topic?
certainly.
Can we, in the meantime, kind of go back and forth with either you or staff and get a comfort level before we just surprise you in a month?
I think you can work probably with staff.
You can definitely get, yeah, back with me. I think I know where they're heading and, yeah.
Okay. Okay, any other comments, questions? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion to defer site lighting, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All opposed, no opposition, motion passes 6-0. Okay. All right, we still have landscaping.
You go ahead.
Lighting.
Mr. Chairman, regarding DRB 200041 for the Avico Healthcare Building at 100 North Main, I move that we accept the landscape planting plan that has been presented this morning.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Owen, second by Ms. Palmer. Further comments, questions?
Just a couple comments that they clarify the wall material. Because what was presented was different than what
On that north
discussed.
wall, that landscape wall?
Yeah, on the entry drive.
Temporary wall, is that the one you're talking about?
Correct.
Okay.
The drawing said brick and the presentation said modular. And then
yeah, it would be as presented today, so it would be modular at this point.
So have drawings been submitted for a land disturbance permit? So they've been submitted as a brick retaining wall?
I'm not 100%
We're
sure.
a little unclear on what the
Yeah,
drawings
I
are
wasn't
showing
aware
with
that the
that.
plan said brick.
Okay, well,
Okay.
it is what it is then. Brick.
Well, in theory, it's temporary. Think about it. I mean, until the Cumming Street comes in, right?
Maybe,
Maybe?
yeah. I mean, there's,
That's the caveat.
I think there's appetite for the road, but
As of now, it's
Where
not
and
funded or?
doesn't necessarily mean that it's gonna happen.
No, but it's in our comprehensive land use plan.
Just no money there for it. You know, I mean, it's a plan, yes, and the city and city council supports it, but it's not been budgeted and on a path to getting done. So I think we have to take in the hope that it's temporary, but temporary is how long, you know?
We generally assume things that haven't happened aren't going to
It's
happen.
temporarily permanent.
So I guess what's presented today, he said modular, although the drawings say brick. I think we just need that clarified in the motion. Which one your motion
Mr. Owens, what
is
was the,
reflective of.
Elevation materials.
did you have any intent as to what material the wall was, that low 1 to 4 foot retaining wall?
1 to 7 foot.
I thought it was 1 to 4.
I think at the high point, it's about
7?
6 feet.
Okay.
So that's my concern. is that
174.
It goes through the LEP process, all of a sudden it comes back, well, we can't build brick, it's too expensive. We're putting a keystone wall, and then that's what gets built.
We restudied that wall. We would prefer to do it in modular blocks.
Sure. Not surprising.
It would be a change to the LEP.
Well, that item
They
is
would-
only part of the site plan, correct?
At that point, we would have to call that wall out at this point, call it out as its own motion.
Yeah, because that's true. It's really part of the site plan, not necessarily the landscape plan.
But we wouldn't have to go back to site plan, we could just make another motion for that particular wall.
I agree.
And then we could defer that wall, and it wouldn't be part of this landscape motion, it's not part of site, if we address it specifically.
All right, well, so we've got the landscape plan is up for discussion, right? Has a motion up for
It
discussion.
just started.
Yes.
Well, we can make a
Or,
separate.
or we make a
We'll make a separate.
we get rid of this one.
Take that out.
I'm sorry?
How about just a friendly amendment,
Well-
take the wall portion out of the,
That could go to this, or just let this current one die and then, or get voted down because it can't die because it got a second.
I think let's just do another motion about the wall itself.
Another motion, go with this one.
Okay. Any other comments about the landscaping motion that's on the floor? There being none, then I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All opposed? No opposition? Okay. Landscaping passes 6-0. All right. So the last thing we need to do is determine this, I guess, retaining wall. Is that what we're calling it? Retaining wall along,
I think, hang on,
We needed to withdraw that motion.
you can't. We've already,
Well, they
we've
want
already
to change it. so
voted on it.
I
They
know
would have
that.
to, they'll have to.
who's keeping score?
That was that. Because that wall was included.
Yeah, I don't really, we can't do anything about it now because you all voted on it, but,
But the motion was for
He
landscape.
said landscaping, yeah.
He didn't say landscaping and wall, he said landscaping.
okay.
And then Mike brought up the question, does that include it?
Right, so we'll just have a
Well,
separate motion on the
Well,
wall.
my argument is, it says on the drawings, a brick retaining wall. Okay? That's,
No, what was presented today is modular.
no?
Said it's going to be modular.
Tell you what, why don't we just, can we just make a motion to defer the site wall based on discussion, and then whatever y'all figure out, once it's gotta come back.
I think we should, they understand where you're at. I think it would be problematic if we were going the other direction, but.
If it was 2 feet tall, but it's 7 feet tall, with a railing, so.
Yeah, I agree. So the
We didn't see
landscape
the
was
railing either.
approved as submitted. Okay. As presented.
Where is that retaining wall again? It's along where the Cumming Street is going to be?
Yes.
Yeah.
We didn't see a railing
Right
either.
on the side there, towards the front.
So, Mr. Chairman, regarding DRB 200041, Abago Healthcare, motion to defer the materials for the retaining wall on the Cumming Street side of the building.
Second?
Okay, have a motion by Mr. Swain and a second by Mr. Corkle to defer the retaining wall on the Cumming Street side. Any further discussion or comments?
And I'm assuming that's including the railing, because we didn't see a railing.
That's part of the wall. We'll consider that part of the wall, because it has to be there. So, okay. Any other comments, questions? There being none, I'll call for a vote. Yes.
Yes, Pat.
Yep, okay. Anything else? All right, there being no further comments or questions, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion to defer, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All opposed, no opposition, motion passes 6-0. Okay,
So let me just make sure that Ellie and I both have this all right. Everything is approved other than site lighting is coming back
yes,
and the retaining wall material is coming back. We got,
yes.
everything else got
Yeah.
approved.
We still have a
Correct.
furniture and fixtures, the bench and the
Signage.
garbage
Yeah, that was.
buckets and things, right?
That could be a separate motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing on the garbage buckets, I think they need a rain lid,
Garbage
Right.
buckets.
whatever they are, trash receptacles.
Mr. Chairman, regarding DRB 200041, Abago Healthcare, Inc., 100 North Main Street, I make the motion that we approve the furniture and dumps, what would it be called, trash enclosures as presented today with the condition that the trash has a top, a rain cap in the motion.
I second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Brown, second by Mr. Owen. Any further comments or questions about the furniture motion? There being none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All opposed, no opposition, motion passes 6-0. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 6 motions on this one. Okay, anything else? We still have signage, but that hasn't been presented.
Later.
So, okay, very good. Thank you for your time, your
I do
patience.
like it if it just, the number 100, I think. I agree with Councilman Mitchell.
Just the numerals?
Yeah, I think we'll vote.
It doesn't bother me at all. No. And Main. Because isn't there a South Main? So what if there's 100 South?
There's not an end main.
Looks good. In period.
End period, there's not
Right.
an end period main, it's called North Main, is what they're trying to do it. All right, okay. Okay, let's, our next applicant is gonna be Bank of America. I know you're here. Give the other applicant just a minute to kind of collect their samples and materials and all that. That'll give us a chance to, I'll tell you what, let's take a short recess and while the applicant cleans up and you get all set up for us. So bear with us. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
We do have a South Main Street, right?
Yeah.
What's going on?
So you have to say,
Way to go, Pat.
you have to say South Main.
That means they're gonna have an address somewhere else.
That's right. Yep. Oh, okay. You have samples? Lots of them, or just, how many?
Started, I got all their acrylics, paints.
Okay, all right. Are there several,
I got 2 of all their colors.
okay, why don't you put maybe one on that end and one on this end, and then we, okay, good, oh, good, okay. Great, thank you. I don't know, just excited to see an Atlanta team winning and making some progress, right?
We could get Freddie Freeman, the MVP, and Dale Murphy in the Hall of Fame, I would be happy.
If we can get them to,
We gotta get Pete Rose. Pete Rose has gotta come back.
is he still
Yeah,
banned?
Dale never
Still
gambled
banned?
on
Don't ban, he needs to come back.
That was tough, that's a tough one.
Yeah. I mean, there's people in the Hall of Fame that did, in my opinion,
Worse.
way worse things.
Yeah. All right, and we'd like to get you out of here, the sooner the better, so, but no, I mean, no offense.
Sure that
I don't mean, I don't.
He's got a plane to catch.
Oh, uh-oh, okay.
You wanna do signage first?
I'm good, I'm
Mine is on.
Good?
yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
You're just gonna approve the whole thing anyway, so I mean, you just can't,
We can just vote.
you just vote now, yeah, I mean,
I vote we defer.
Don't do that.
please don't do that. I got,
You said just vote.
kind of thrown into this last minute because I
Okay.
couldn't be here. So.
Well, we got pity for you, man. But it only lasts so long.
What's that? Okay. What's that? Yes. Mr.
You remember the things, Richard, that your person talked about on this one?
Deer in the headlight, look.
Remember there's a little line, and the other is a full.
Your person. Richard has a person.
He'll come back to us.
I'll bring it up.
All right. Okay, we all set?
Our samples in front of you.
All right, let's get going with the next applicant. We've got Bank of America. All right, thank you for your patience. All right, if you'll introduce yourself?
Thank you. Yes, I'm Mark Van Sickle with Little Architects. Was kind of thrown in a little bit last minute to come down and present the firm, so I know enough probably to be dangerous about the project. I'll try to answer any of your questions that you may have as best as possible. I think everybody understand, or maybe a little bit of history, I guess. The reason for the project is because Georgia DOT is taking right-of-way away from the bank that's impacting parking layout. In conjunction with that, they're relocating an existing drive-up ATM that has already been removed. Those islands are actually been removed as well. But then looking at the site plan, the configuration that's been presented for your guys' consideration is kind of the most efficient from the loss of parking standpoint, reconfiguration of circulation as well. This existing condition, this is the existing walk-up ATM that's there, still open. This is what we're talking about, those islands and ATMs being removed. This is the land area that Georgia DOT is taking away from the property as part of the road improvements projects. This is the layout that's been presented. I can't get into the detail that you guys were going over in the landscape plan in the last project, but I know that it was prepared by a certified arborist to meet all the requirements and your tree cover and landscape requirements. I mean, maybe obviously, maybe not obviously, there's, a right out here right now that's going away. This driveway will continue to function the way that it does, as will these two. And then there's the proposed drive-through ATM, and that's where the kiosk is. So this is what the kiosk would look like. It's been presented. The colors on the samples that you have, Collins is pretty confident that they're pretty much the same color.
Bank standard colors.
Kramer, that's your,
They haven't changed
My cue.
a lot from what they were. The red is not as vibrant as it once was. It's a lot more of a deeper, darker red, and the blue is the same. Yes, sir. So that would be the acrylic letters.
This is the letters, okay?
The letters.
And
then
this,
that's
I guess,
acrylic
let's see.
spacing, and then that's the paint color for the,
That's letters too?
yes, sir.
And that's, okay?
That would be for signage.
And this is is this what's the
That would
surround?
be the red surround. Yes, sir.
Okay, so it matches the letter color.
Yeah, and he'll go over the
Or pretty close.
signage here in a second. But
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to touch on the site plan to see if there were any questions that I could try to answer for you, or if that's later during your discussion. I guess your discussion starts when you guys are just.
No, I think one of the questions I have is, what if can we wrap your ATM? You've got the bank is brick right now.
Brick and stucco.
Brick. And can we wrap this in brick, or wrap the sides in brick?
But keep the faces.
Keep the what?
Keep the face, right?
Yeah, keep the
Blue,
face. I
red,
think
and the
I'm
face,
just
just
looking at,
sides.
just kind of looking at trying to, I know the brick is, it's an old brick, but you could probably get a pretty close match to it. Plus the fact you're not attached to the building, so. Just,
Brick.
yeah,
Yeah,
instead
I
of the
mean, I guess
red, yeah.
They could probably do that. I mean, there are some access and ventilation. They do need to get one side of it. And they've got, ventilation over here, and obviously on the backside, they've got ventilation.
I think it just helps to tie it into the bank building.
On the side, you can still use a door, you just paint the door the color of the brick. If you gotta have access.
yeah, it almost becomes a little building with a push-in ATM rather than it's one kind of thing.
And looking like a gas island or something.
What-
So, yeah, I think just think about that.
That's something that we would have to take back to the bank, obviously. I'm sure they've done, I know they've done all kinds of things in all kinds of places, so.
Yeah, it just ties it, I think it just ties it to the building a little bit. Okay.
Does it, is
you
it
want
just
to
the
go back?
red is the red is the concern? What if it was just changed to a different color?
It's just a big pronouncement.
Because I gotta tell you that, I'm glad to see that existing thing go.
I'm sure.
Right? And I'd rather see this disappear than stand out, right? And I don't know, if you brick it, make it a bigger structure, now you got something that's standing
more
out more
attention
than
to it.
disappearing, right? And, I mean, obviously as red, it's not gonna disappear, but if it was if just the outside was not red.
Same color as the top or something.
Yeah,
The whole
just
thing with
something subtle,
the
so
whole
it
thing with
doesn't,
the
so it
silver.
doesn't jump out at you, right? Because I think that's the intent of covering it with brick, is because you don't want to see this big red
Well, I'm
thing.
gonna go out on a limb and say the bank would be more in favor of that for the brick. I can tell you that just from a cost standpoint, but.
Yeah, I see it.
Was the new monument sign that's a whole new monument sign, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So that's being bricked out, right?
Yes, ma'am. To match what's currently there.
So you could use the same brick.
Do you want to look at the signage now as part of this conversation? I'll turn it over to Collins.
Well, I was just saying if there's an issue with like the brick, I mean, there is new brick going in the monument sign, it could be the same brick that you're using in the monument sign.
I do agree with Frank that it would blend more. You don't want something like this standing out, even really from the road.
Yeah, I mean, that existing thing is big, right?
Yeah.
And it really really stands out there. And I'm
Less
just afraid you
real.
start bricking this, you're creating a bigger structure that's just gonna be more noticeable, not less
Well,
noticeable.
keep in mind, there will be landscaping on
Right.
both sides too.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
that's
if you
true. I guess
change
that's
the
true.
color,
Plantings that surround this thing.
you make it a subtle color, and with all the plantings, you hardly notice there's an ATM there. What's that?
There's plantings around it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I don't know, I'm kind of thinking no brick, just change the red to something you won't notice. Either the silver or, yeah,
The
or
Garbo,
something darker that,
Probably temporary
It's a
anyways.
Garbo silver.
who needs
Well, I don't
cash?
know, you can't,
Who needs cash?
you can't go
The
into
color you
banks
currently
and
have in your
go
hand,
use the
if you
ATM.
look at the ATM, that's the color that's actually around the face, around Bank of America. It's Garbo silver.
This is the Garbo,
The,
okay.
It's a Matthews paint, color match. It's
Okay.
a high durability.
like a brushed
Paints.
aluminum kind of.
Pretty neutral, almost earth tone.
Yeah, that'd be good too, yeah.
Yeah, well, and the red is only on the sides really anyway, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
There's
Yeah.
a little bit on the side, on the face, but
okay. Garbo red,
Yeah, I would,
or Garbo silver.
Silver.
Yeah, that's, you know, that's the back.
Holly, you don't think we should do brick and paint it white?
No.
white might actually look better than just making the whole thing, because otherwise it's gonna be one big aluminum box, right?
Well, this
Well, the
is,
backside is white.
Now, that's the returns for the channel letters.
What's, so the,
the natural brushed aluminum.
That's actually part of the sign package that he's
so what's the roof and the front of a natural brushed, it says?
Champagne and gray.
The roof top is champagne metallic, which is another Bank of America color that they previously used.
Do we
It's
have-
actually the color of the existing directional signs that are there. That champagne metallic, it's,
I don't know what that looks like offhand.
there's a photo of it in our,
Sample sets, and
They don't have that color in here, though.
Yes,
Is there one that's similar to it?
they don't have it.
if you, in our PDF, there's an example of that champagne metallic.
Cardboard silver and a natural brush.
You look,
That needs help. And nothing's being done except for new signage.
the existing directional signs that you'll see now, that's the champagne metallic color. It's very similar to the bright blushed stainless by Alumet, but this is more, it's a paint finish instead of a
It's
stainless.
painted,
It's
okay.
a paint color instead of a clear polished aluminum.
I'm okay with that color.
So which one's the natural brushed then?
That's this. That's a natural brushed.
That's what they're showing on the sides,
Uh,
the lower side of the
The front, yeah.
ATM. So we just gotta make sure which one it is for sure.
Yeah, I could go with this, the Garbo silver, instead of bricking the sides.
Where's the Garbo silver?
This one.
Do we have that one? We don't have that one.
Oh, you don't have that one?
No. Oh, it's that one? Oh, it looks funny. You holding it up, it looks different than, yeah, but now I hold it here. Okay,
Okay.
I see. Yeah, that's
I
fine.
guess it's,
Yeah. Yeah, that'll blend. I'm good with that. For some reason, sitting here, laying down, it looked more white under the,
Yeah,
is it the B on the Garbo silver too? Is that-
not on the paint. That's for the directional signs, is like that. The
Okay.
B's, I don't,
But no, take the B away. What's that?
that's Garbo silver.
That's Garbo silver. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah, I thought it looked the same. Okay. All right. Okay, let's, so we talked about ATM. Why don't you keep going through your packet? Or,
Okay, that was it from a site standpoint.
oh, okay. all right.
So I don't know if there's.
You're not changing any drainage or anything like that?
I'm sorry?
You're not changing any drainage or?
No, we're not, I don't believe so.
And then go back to the site plan, Mark, where it kind of shows the lands. There you go. Okay. All right, let's just, so if I'm heading north on Main Street, and right there, yes, and you've got, is that that entrance, if you call it, or that, is that an in or an out?
This is exit only, and
Oh,
this
it's
is the
exit.
and this is the existing driveway.
That's existing, no,
No
so that's
yeah,
exit
there's no-
only.
The only modifications around this is they have it drawn up to add an island around the pedestal that was the former drive-up.
So the DOT's not limiting the left out, which seems kind of dangerous, but,
What's that?
oh, that's a right out and
No, just
right
right out.
out.
It's just,
left
it's
out?
exit, yeah.
Yeah,
It-
but
it-
left or
Yeah, it
right.
does, there's no, I don't think there are any plans, from what I understand, to change the way that driveway.
Well, I guess if DeVore changes, which it will, I was just concerned on the existing DeVore, people trying to turn left out
Here?
of there, yeah. Out of
It's a
the
little
bank.
bit confusing,
Yeah.
too. What is this, go to the left or to the right just a little bit? Move your hand to the right.
This driveway?
No, on the building,
Oh. Here?
right there.
That's
No,
it.
Yeah.
The next square. Towards
The outline, there's an outline. There you go.
right there.
Oh, I think that's just a layer, something that's
Okay,
turned on,
and
that's,
The dark gray right below the arrow, what do we got going on there? That's confusing as to what that is. Up above, up, just
Right there, that dark gray.
that may be just some paving or something. I just know that they're bringing the curb line around here, so it would just.
Gonna need to get rid
It's
of
just
that.
paving.
Oh, is it an
I
overhang?
think it's just a graphic.
Is it a?
It could be the overhang, yeah. Actually, that's exactly what
The
it is.
canopy?
It's a drive-through canopy.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what's confusing is why, since you're creating that curve, why not bring it out and attach it, say, up where the bushes lines are, so it makes it
You don't have that,
for someone to
It
take.
doesn't look like a dead end?
you don't have that pocket in there.
Right in.
You're talking about getting rid of that pocket?
Yes.
That.
Oh, this?
Yes,
Oh, so bring this straight across?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
yeah, that would be,
And then
that's something,
landscape that area.
I don't know what the grades are doing, if it was a concern with, it's something that they could look at, though. I mean,
yeah, I think that would be,
And then do you have building elevations of what's going on with the building?
they're not doing any renovations to the exterior of the building.
Well, you're removing stuff, what's, right, or you're just removing a piece in the parking lot?
It's just, my understanding is just what has been removed, and only the walk-up ATM are being removed. My understanding is there are no renovations to the exterior of the building,
The only stuff
other
in
than changing the signs.
the building is us.
okay.
Didn't you say something was happening with the drive-through?
No, just that they were adding this curb line.
Oh, just. the
Right
curb.
now, you can still drive, there's like a driveway between the pedestal and
Yeah, I
the
see
building.
it. Yep,
So they're
yep.
closing that off.
Okay, I got you, okay.
To your point, to try to make it a little,
Right.
Okay, so that's where I was a little confused, because early on, that was all going away, it was going to the building. That's changed.
right, but my understanding was that if they did anything to the building, that it was like a whole major league change, and I think that's why they're trying to,
Okay,
I think that's why they're not doing anything to the building.
that works. I do think there's a benefit, though, to extending that line out there, landscaping it, because that building, although it's gonna get some landscaping that it doesn't currently have, it could get a little bit more in that area, and that kind of maybe further would help deter someone from turning right into there.
I guess that's my question is, the way that driveway is angled, it makes it very opportune as you're heading north on Main Street to take that right in there. Oh, there's my bank, and then,
Yeah.
That's something I would do. Drive over the.
and then next thing you know, you're coming into oncoming traffic that's trying to, come out of the bank. So how do you encourage, or
I don't
just-
know if it's signed now, do not enter?
It is.
It is.
Okay.
I mean, I personally have seen people going that way, and right now, since.
Yeah, and I
it's
see
all
people
closed,
turn left at Pork Chop Islands like that, like you're talking about.
Okay.
I mean,
Just trying to make it safer, just to,
It would be fabulous if it was a right turn out only too, but
okay. All right. Anything else, as we're kind of looking at the site plan here, anything else that we,
Is it like a headache bar or anything like that?
yeah, there's one,
Canopy?
yeah, I'm sure they'd have all of this.
there is one here.
Typical application,
Right.
ATM.
It's right there.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it
At the
shows up on this
front.
rendering or not.
it's at the front of the
It
house.
does. There's a bar, it's right
Right
where
there.
that,
Oh, here it is, right there. Yep.
So there is one at the drive-up ATMs, and then also the canopy that's attached to the building will have a clearance sign as well on it that says clearance is XYZ height.
Yeah, because it does extend out past where the curb line would be.
And they're connecting to the sidewalk. Staff asked them to do that, so there you can see the sidewalk going across, which currently doesn't. Connecting out to the sidewalk, we think that's gonna be
okay,
a nice piece, and hopefully at some point they maybe remodel the bank and that connects to a walk-up ATM, maybe right there on the corner of the bank or something like that, that
Site lighting, did I miss it? Are you reconfiguring?
I don't know that, I mean, I would imagine they probably would reconfigure it somewhat just because of the change in where the parking is, but I don't have specific information on that. I don't know if that was part of what was submitted as the formal DRB submittal.
I don't know. Is that in the package?
I didn't see it.
I didn't see photometrics.
Okay, so that's something we do look at is the photometrics and the site lighting.
They
so-
can, yeah, I'm sure that they can have one done that meets whatever your guys' local requirements are.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that they're not changing it.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they would change it a
Looking
lot.
at-
I would think that they'd probably have to change it a little bit though, just because of the AT.
Well, the lights right now are basically, they're not in an area being disturbed, it doesn't look like.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Are they all up in, so they're all up in this point?
They're basically on both sides of the ATM and that island.
Maybe they can
Oh,
say
okay.
that to staff.
Yeah, there's nothing on the part of the property that's going away. It doesn't look like that strip of parking. I don't see any lighting there.
And they should be, DOT should be doing some street light, pedestrian poles, I believe, and stuff like that. I believe that's part of the DOT project. On both of those, actually, they've got DOT projects on two sides there.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess there's no lighting approval today. If you're going to change lighting, then that'd have to come back, right?
Yeah, that's something that I'll have to have Jason follow up with you guys on, because I just don't know I don't know the answer to that one.
Okay. And then landscaping. Pat, had you looked at the landscaping?
The only thing I couldn't figure out was where the monument sign is and what's going on around the monument sign.
Okay. Why don't you pull up your landscaping, that site plan again?
Yeah, that other plan.
Right here.
These monument sign looks like it's a large face of brick at the base.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. Sign.
Monument sign's there. The landscaping doesn't show anything around it.
So the monument sign is, I don't know.
You're moving too fast.
Let's see.
Move the whole building.
I don't know how that
Well,
happens.
there are
It's in the middle of
photometrics.
the-
There is a photometric.
They can put it all back.
And I am totally not a designer.
Didn't Richard ask about a photometric? Didn't you ask about
There
a
is a
photometric?
square element on that.
There's a photometric.
I don't remember seeing one.
Yeah.
There we go. So that's,
I'm good at the undo.
So E.
I think that may be part of the traffic
70
control
something pages, so
Yes.
Yeah,
okay, okay.
box that's currently there.
Photometric.
As far as landscaping around the monument sign, we haven't had any plan. We were gonna go back to basically what was currently there when we move it back, the 10 feet that DOT is taking away from us. We're shifting it back, and then we would basically, what's currently there with mature plants, go back around the base of it with that again.
Wouldn't you show that on the landscape plan?
I would think so.
Can you show what's current?
I can.
Get a picture of the current?
I just saw grass.
Yeah, you can get it in street view, but it's in shadow, so it's a
Right there.
little hard to see. It does look like there's some green shrubs around it.
Yeah.
There's just a little bit of, it almost looks like a box holly around the bottom of it.
Yeah, there you go.
And it looks like that brick, that sign was installed afterwards, and the brick may not match the current building. So your proposed is improving that.
Yeah, it would be a brand-new brick base, same height, to keep us within code, with a non-illuminated monument sign cabinet on top, and it would be externally illuminated cabinet.
Is that brick gonna match it?
I do like the new cabinet sign. I mean, the
We would
white.
try and match the brick, the cabinet to the
Yes,
building as
the,
much as possible.
Yeah, I like that new one.
Yeah, it's better, the new
Rather
sign.
silver shows that off a lot better.
Yeah, so that monument sign, is that the Garbo
So
silver?
the face of it is the Garbo silver, yes, sir.
Okay.
The inside of the monument sign is painted the Bank of America, the red. The interior portions of it is painted red. And then the two thicker samples that you have, those are, the letters here are actually, it's a seamless pocket routed letter. So most, when you see individual channel letters, they'll have a jewel light trim or some sort of retainer that goes around them. We'll route these letters out. And so the faces will actually slide inside the returns, and then they'll get blind screwed from the back. So you won't, it basically looks like the face of the letter is floating on the sign. You won't tell where it comes from.
Okay.
So show them the edge view so that they can see what you're talking about with the interior's red.
I see, right there.
Right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that.
that's a nice accent.
Mm-hmm.
And we do the access panel for this is actually hidden on the top, so you can't, the sides of it are sealed. So to get into actually access, which this sign wouldn't need it because it's not illuminated, but all the electrical stuff is actually hidden in the middle, so you can't tell where it is.
So my only thing on this sign was I think there was one spot on one of the drawings that showed it, that the base of the letters was outside the plane of the base, and it looked a little, that may have been in a different drawing. So if you were to take your edge view, was there a true edge view?
No, not on this one.
That shows it doesn't come past the edge of the brick on our monitor now.
On the edge, what's the total width of the base, and the total width of the sign?
I would have to get my computer up for that one. I can get it for you.
So I think what the board would want is that,
What was presented, do you want to check this? This is what he's talking about?
is that in your packet?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking there's something.
On the right-hand side, is that what he's talking about?
Yep.
So it's a 2-inch channel letter on it now that comes out, and then we don't have the dimension on the brick, so we can make the brick as wide as we want, but the dimension, the width on the cabinet sign itself is going to be from letter edge to letter edge.
20 and a half?
24 and a half. So we can make it, I mean, if you want the brick the same dimension, we can do that as well.
And
24 and a half. Wow.
unfortunately, I can't
That's
get
so
it
wide.
to pull up here. I can't get it to zoom in. Do you have that drawing?
This one?
Yeah, do you have it?
On my computer.
That seems like really wide.
Is there a reason why it has to be that wide?
Well, I think
The
it's a standard. They're designing it for an illuminated one. They're just not.
And they're just not
I think
illuminating
we
it.
need to maybe,
It's
Yeah,
the
it works,
second
and that
to
works
last
well,
slide on
just
front.
typical dimensional brick as
Yeah.
well.
Right, it's the second to last slide now.
yeah, I just can't get it to, on computer, for some reason, it won't let me blow it up.
This, yes.
So 20.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It looks like the face of the sign, not including the letters, is the same.
There is
Letters stick out.
Richard, there is photometrics in
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
just
the letters
Holly
are
found
proud of
Are
the
proud-
base, and
proud
that
of
just
the
looks,
brick.
I think it's just
But
gonna look
look-
weird when it's
70
not illuminated.
71
I mean, it looks
pages of
weird anyway, I think,
pages.
but,
lost.
but being non-illuminated,
An
it's gonna
ATM.
be
That's really bright around ATM.
almost like that, like,
Safety.
the whole thing needs to.
Saying they don't want the letter
But
stick down past the edge of the brick.
yet at that size, the width.
We would have to do the,
Give it,
That a big
rather than just.
we'd have to
skinny-
change the,
Some dimension, yeah.
no, we'd have to change.
I don't know why we're it's not on.
I just thought it seemed a little odd,
So if the brick base was as wide as the sign,
or wider,
or a little wider,
yeah.
That's over,
Yeah,
they're showing just like a little Carissa Holly at the bottom, which is 18 inches.
You know, that new sign looks taller than the existing one.
Oh, it is by a lot.
I thought
It's
that-
actually the same height.
No,
Yes, sir.
no.
No.
Oh, I
Your existing sign is 10 feet tall?
Yes, sir.
Big.
Wow, I guess I'm,
We do it from road grade, and that sits
Oh.
in the hole.
Going to the same location.
so it's even taller, because you take it from road grade, right? 10
We-
feet.
It's,
Showing
Wants
from
some money
where
out
it
of it.
is, but where we
the
would.
current
put it
sign is 10
code
feet from
road
grade.
So, Pat, could they do like some cypress evergreens?
Leland cypress? Is that what you're trying to say?
Dwarf,
One right in
dwarf,
front.
dwarf Leland cypress.
Who you calling dwarf?
Okay. just something that's a little bit more proportionate to the base of the sign for some landscape, okay. All right, what else, let's see, I guess you're trying to get to the,
Sorry.
we're trying to get you on a plane flight at 2 o'clock.
It's all right.
Better get going.
Flights at 2?
Yeah,
Good luck.
I'll make it.
You flying Delta?
I am.
Okay, do you have to return a rental car?
No.
Okay, that's good.
He has his own bag probably, so, good.
You've
got at least another hour and a half.
You have pre-check, you have TSA pre-check.
And clear.
Oh.
We've got
Man,
another,
you
at least an
have
hour and
it
a half then for him.
Travel a lot.
That's why he's
got
not
a
worried then,
helicopter
right?
that's about
We
to
can stay here another hour.
Take them straight there.
As long as I get there about 15 minutes before my flight leaves, I am
That's
good
okay.
to
Well,
go.
All right, so we gotta get
I'll
to
fake an
this-
ankle
we gotta
injury
get
and
to
hop
the
on that little
sign,
golf
right?
cart
The
and
rest
go.
of the sign.
And they're all pretty straightforward.
I have done it before.
Well, Brett will do all the directional signage. That's all coded.
So here we go.
Yeah, I'll take care of all that.
The building signage looks better than
Yeah,
what's
so,
there now.
so that, to me, that base brick needs to be at least as wide as the total width of the outside edge of letter to letter,
Okay.
or a little bit wider.
Yeah, maybe just a few inches wider on each
Yeah.
side.
Yeah, I
I
think
understand you're probably doing prototypical, and it's just coming out of thing, but that, if that center could shrink, that would be
can fit
better.
on it.
Since you don't need it for illumination, you know, I'm sure it's built that way so you can get in there and work on it, but you don't need any of
it's,
that, so.
it's got the stringer support, I mean, so when, it's only 12 inches inside of it, and we're putting a 3-inch pole in the middle of it, but there's also the internal frame structure that supports that whole sign is built within that 12 inches. So, we can increase the width of the brick if you want. Would you want to see the whole brick or just that soldier cornice cap on the edge stick out? Or do you want to see the entire brick face?
So it looks like the width of that brick wall or the base of the sign is 24 inches wide. Because it's 3 courses of brick, I'm counting. Or three
So the whole-
three bricks.
The whole base, the whole width of, the overall width of the sign itself is 24.5 inches. The brick itself is probably
24 and a half, oh, I see.
22.
Well, you got 8, 8, and 8.
You see the night view too.
Or 7 5/8 a joint, 7 5/8 a joint, 7 5/8. So you
Yeah, and this is just scaled from us. We didn't give the overall dimension of the brick. But yeah, by all means, if it depends, do you want to see the cornice edge stick out in the center part of the monument there, or do you want to see the whole
I just say
monument go
edge.
out?
I think we're spending way too much time on it.
Doesn't bother me, I just think
Yeah.
it's shrubs.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me.
Rubbery?
Well, in order to avoid cutting brick, for the most part, I'm thinking on the edge, I'm looking at Mark, you know, three bricks, 3 full brick
Yeah.
should be the width, and that'll get you 24 inches. And then that roll-lock, that top course usually sticks out an inch or maybe an inch and a half.
Are you gonna be able to match that brick exactly? Because isn't this already there?
It is, we're going to try our hardest to match it. If that brick was probably,
Well, fortunately, it's away from the building,
Yeah.
and you're going to put some landscaping in it, so.
The monument
underneath.
is all new. The brick on the monument is
Only
brand new.
suggest a creeping fig.
It's not, they're not taking it.
So if the brick base was 24, not including the
Is that what you
cap.
meant?
If the base itself is 24, then the cap will stick out a little further.
2 or 3 inches total.
No one else is listening.
Okay, all right. I think we'd be,
I did have one about the building signage, and I know you had the, I guess there's, as a cabinet, it's like a cabinet right now, I guess, or the,
yes. you have
and then
where you can-
when you take that down, I just envision like dirt and rain dirt and whatever, and then you just put up these individual signs. Is that white part gonna be painted at all?
Give me 1 second. Yes, so when we remove the sign itself from the building, from each side, we are going to remove it and then we'll take it down, dispose of it, and then when we come, we'll have our stucco painter crews come in, and they will go in and seam to seam. They're going to strip it down to bare stucco, re-stucco, re-skim, and repaint to match colors exactly when we put our new channel letters up.
Okay.
And that's a bank standard, not anything out. They're the ones that require, we do that for every sign we take down.
I just
which
was
makes it-
envisioning like, you know, like an outline.
But you have to do the whole cornice, right? You can't just paint a little section. You're
No,
gonna.
that's what he said, seam to seam.
We would do seam to seam.
wow.
Seam to seam being seam here, look at the screen here.
Oh.
So you're talking seam here to like seam here?
Yes, we would not paint the whole side, not the whole sign band, seam to seam.
No,
But how's that gonna blend in? I mean, that paint's pretty
This is a
old.
really old building.
It's gonna stand out then.
It's gonna look like this brick on the building right there.
They'd only have to stucco that and then repaint the whole thing to match together, correct? Or would you want them to restucco the whole?
That's your.
It would have to be part of the motion.
Right.
The whole,
It
the
shall
whole,
match.
Is it necessary to?
It
put
shall
the whole
match,
stuff?
or they gotta repaint the whole thing.
well, I think that part is to fill in holes and stuff like that. But
That
no,
way
but the
Brett
whole
can go
thing
out
needs to
there
be,
and say-
that the whole thing absolutely needs to be repainted.
It doesn't match, so it needs to match
Repainted, yes.
per the motion.
Because then you're gonna have like a really nice freshly painted and then dirty, dingy, not
No,
painted.
it's a great question.
Because it's very old.
I have pictures of one that we actually just did, this same exact thing with this same color in Raleigh.
Yeah,
But how old was that building?
This is this building.
This one was built in the one in Raleigh was built in the 70s.
Well, this is Alpharetta.
All right.
We,
Yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, painting that all the way around there is not a
Yeah, it's
super
not gonna
expensive
be a
thing.
big
I mean,
deal.
and it would really freshen the building up as well, because it's looking a little tired.
Okay, anything else that we need
Can I
to?
see the building sign is black at night? Does it?
No, that's just shown, right, the black behind it is just shown for night individual letters. So the black behind it is just to show you that it is night, that you wouldn't see the facade behind it.
can you go back to that picture just before?
Right here?
No, the one, the actual building.
shows
The
light
one,
on this.
I had that.
oh, yeah. Sorry, Brent. I was just, this has nothing to do with the painting, but
Stucco.
oh, yeah. Oh, okay. See, there are arrows right there that say that you're not supposed to turn right. Are those gonna be like repainted? I'm really concerned.
We're gonna, so, and that was part of the thing that we're gonna go through as well, those directional signs that are right there.
Uh-huh.
So we have a really good picture of them, so you can see. This is up close. I don't know if we're able to switch back and forth. So this is what they look like now, which is,
No, I'm talking about on the actual road, on the
oh,
asphalt.
on the road itself.
On the
Okay.
asphalt. See where it says the arrows, so people, so nobody turns right into that, what we were talking about earlier. That's-
wanna
I was
bet
just wondering if those going to be repainted.
No one's gonna see that from the main road, though.
I know, but,
Also, relative to that site plan, this was discussed earlier, are we looking to have one lane going out of there instead of three?
Yes.
Yeah, there's only room for one.
There weren't any proposed changes to that originally? I'm just going by what was on, what was on the plan. Other than adding that, and now looking at this view though too, that may make things a little more complicated to your point of bringing the curb line across. 'Cause
Yeah, my
there's a
point
big.
would be to bring this.
I guess that's
curb
what that is a big
Across
trench
there,
there.
yeah.
And that one, that you were asking what that was on the rendering?
Yeah.
That must be what that is the pavement edge where
I
the
think,
asphalt goes up to the concrete and then the
I
actual.
think our DOT
Oh,
rep
that's a
on
drain- yeah, the
staff is gonna
drainage.
try to work with DOT and see what this becomes
Right.
a little bit, because, I mean, their plan would be to go back with what would be existing. That's just what DOT does, but it would actually be cheaper if they went back with something else. I think we're gonna work with Bank of America and the DOT and try to get that reconfigured somehow.
So I'm trying to remember back from the site plan, we were talking about this was the curb we were gonna continue, right?
Yeah, this one right here.
But there's.
Right, that's
but
what I
there's-
was saying, because of
there's a
the trench
drive-through.
drain, that may make things a little more.
There's a drive-through lane under there. Are you getting rid of that?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, you are getting rid of that drive-through
Yes.
lane, okay.
all that's going.
You're just gonna have that outside. Right, because that
Right.
canopy's still there, so you'll
Right,
have that outside
right, so
drive-through
we'll still
lane.
maintain what we need for, a drivable lane, but yes, the canopy would still stay.
When they came to us first, this, along with this, was all going away.
Well,
Yeah,
now,
okay.
now only half of that's, well,
Now only this exterior one standalone is going away.
it's gone, it's gone.
Gone.
They're
It's
gone.
done.
And you'll
They're gonna
The
leave.
curb
all those-
around them's gone, there's just.
just have a single drive-through then,
So
basically.
one
It's
time
just
you
an
wouldn't
exit.
have a drive-through.
That's it.
It's not even.
Oh, not even a drive-through, just an exit.
No, the drive-through, they don't use the drive-through now, apparently.
Yeah, few and far between, you'll find a bank anymore with
Yeah.
a drive-up teller.
They've gone more to the remote.
Okay.
The remote, yeah, okay, I got you.
Okay. Any other questions? I know we've got, going to the Garbo Silver for the wrap on the ATM machine and the site plan, kind of reconfiguring that area where we just talked about, although you got a trench drain in there now, so.
We can look at that. I think we could probably still extend the curb across there, and even if we left the trench drain where it is and just leave a return.
That's
so
probably
that,
good.
So that it doesn't
It catches.
Well,
Yep.
then it doesn't create an issue between the building and the driveway as
That's
well.
true.
Just basically leave it in place, grade down to it.
Good point, okay.
But we could pull the curb line out though.
And then that upper band, that upper stucco band being, now that you're doing some repair work and signage, just painting that
Yes.
same color, okay. Those are the issues I kind of came.
I think so, yeah.
And there is a photometrics plan in the,
So you're talking about the entire band, or the entire band on one side, or?
The whole
You're
top.
talking about the whole?
Top.
Whole
I
top
think
of
the-
the
I
side.
think the whole top, because
Okay.
once you, it's like, once you start, you can, where do you
Can't.
stop?
I got you.
Even aside, you can't stop. It's not
I
gonna
agree.
Okay,
All right, Mr. Chairman, regarding DRB 200037, Bank of America, motion to approve the ATM as presented, except that the sides will be painted Garbo silver instead of red.
Second.
who seconded it, Holly or Katie?
Katie?
Oh, you came back.
Okay. All right, we have a motion on the floor. Any comments or questions? So that's really the ATM.
The ATM.
That's, okay. All right, any other comments, questions? There being none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All opposed, no opposition, motion passes. 7-0. Okay, thank you for that.
Extending that curb and adding the, which will be.
All right.
I'll try it. Mr. Chairman, regarding DRB 20037, Bank of America, motion to approve the site plan as presented with the following change. Applicant will extend the curb by the driveway towards Main Street and add a landscaping area along the building. I think we all know what we mean by that, right? I don't know how else to describe it any better.
That's a pretty good description.
And add a landscaping area along the building.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Swing, a second by Mr. Brown. Comments, questions about the motion?
So if what they put in for landscaping, would that then go under landscaping approval? But we don't know what's going in there
Yeah,
yet.
we don't have a landscaping plan really today.
Well, there is one.
There is one, and I think your formal submittal, that's what I was saying, I think it's in that package.
Oh, was it?
I
Okay.
just don't have a copy of that PDF to refer to. So we would mimic the plans from one side of that, where the drive-throughs being closed off to the other, I'm sure, work with the arborist on that. It'd be the same.
Yeah, staff.
Yeah, I think that's
I
going to
think
be
it might be
key.
clear.
I think that's staff and landscape.
Similar planting or something.
Okay, all right. That's site plan. We still have landscaping.
Did we vote on that?
Oh, I'm sorry, yep.
Were there any
We're in
comments?
comment and questions.
Were there any comments from the public?
There is no public. Just us,
Sorry.
just us folks.
All right, he's got a flight to catch. We gotta-
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
he does.
all right. All right, there being no further comments or questions, I'll call for a vote.
I'm good.
All right, all in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All opposed, no opposition. Motion passes 7-0. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, regarding DRB 20037, make a motion, we approve the photometrics as presented, or in the package today, in the motion.
Okay,
Second.
all right, motion by Mr. Brown, a second by Ms. Rocco. Comments, questions on the motion for photometrics? There being none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All opposed, no opposition. Motion passes 7-0. Okay, landscape.
Mr. Chairman, regarding DRB 20037, Bank of America, South Main, I move that we accept the landscape plan as it is. It does have good variety in there where the shrubs surround this property.
In the motion.
All right,
In the motion.
motion by Mr. Owens, a second by Mr. Corkle. Any comments or questions?
I just have one comment that I think they need to work with staff on the evergreen shrubs around the base of the monument sign.
Okay. For maybe some more height or some more?
Yeah, to basically add shrubs to evergreen shrubs to the scale of that brick.
Because they got to work with staff anyway for that additional landscape area.
How about we add that to the monument sign motion?
Yeah, you could do that.
How about we do that? Okay.
Okay, all right, we're still in discussion. Any further comments, questions about the landscape plan? Being none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All opposed, no opposition, motion passes 7-0. Okay,
Mr. Chairman, regarding DRB 200037 Bank of America, motion to approve the monument sign with the following changes. That the brick base will be 24 inches wide plus a cap. An applicant will work with staff on plantings around the base.
Second.
okay, motion by Mr. Swing, a second by Mr. Brown. Comments, questions about the motion?
Again, that those evergreen plantings match the scale of that brick base.
I get that.
Okay. Brett's heard it loud and clear. All right. Any other comments or questions? There being none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All opposed, no opposition. Motion passes 7-0. Okay.
One more.
Ooh, what do we have?
Chairman, regarding DRB 200037, regarding the building signage, make the motion that we approve the signage presented today with the condition that applicant repaints the top facade of the building on all 4 sides of the same color in the motion.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Brown, the second by Ms. Rocco. Any further comments or questions about the motion? There being none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All opposed, no opposition. Motion passes 7-0. Wow.
Everything,
1,
right?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6 motions on this.
All I can
Wow.
say now is run.
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 All right.
Look back.
We good?
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
your time. Appreciate it. All right. There being no further business, and with no
Other than
objections from Design Review Board members, this meeting is hereby adjourned. Thank you.
12:30. Tell you what, if I was running the show, we'd been done half hour ago.
I know when Frank was here, it was like a well-oiled machine.
2 hours longer?